What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 212 of the Tastecast, a weekly podcast where we talk about all things gaming. My name's Seth, and joining me, of course, today is Chevy. Chevy, how you doing? And are you excited to talk about all the things we're going to be talking about today? And I got a couple things I want to bring up in a sec that will be fun. But before we jump into that, how you doing?
Doing good. A couple things we'll be doing this episode that I've held off and watching myself, so I am looking forward to checking those out.
Yep.
And I'm just over 2 weeks until my trip, so pretty excited.
Nice. Very soon. Which reminds me, during that time that you'll be gone, that will be our community pick game of the month that you guys should be participating in. I've done a terrible job this month of reminding you guys about it, so I'm going to remind you right now. There's been a couple episodes where I like to remind you at the end of the episode, which is just stupid on my part. Community pick game of the month is in October. You're going to be gone for a chunk of it, but you'll be there at the beginning and end, so you'll be able to play the games, but I'll definitely be playing the games. How that works is you vote on any episode that is in this month. So this episode right now you're watching, comment down below a game you would like to see us play for Game of the Month in October. It'll be added to a list. You only got to vote once, and we'll go through our random wheel wheel spinning thing with your guys' picks, and we'll start eliminating the games you guys picked until we get to the last three. Two of them will be runner-ups for our future random picks for Game of the Month, and the overall winner will be our Game of the Month for October. So it's up to you guys to pick what game we play in October. Just vote down below. It's very simple. I'll take care of the rest. And we'll find out at the end of this month what game you guys picked for Game of the Month and the two runner-ups that we will play later. So technically 3 people will get their games through, but only one will be the Game of the Month for October. And so far we got some really interesting picks. Honestly, outside of maybe one, because I don't know anything about it, I am pretty down to play every single game you guys have picked so far. So if we get more, that'd be great. And if we don't, I'm pretty happy with this list so far, but it'd be more fun if we had more games. So make sure to vote down below. I think I covered everything when it comes to the rules of that, yeah? Just vote. Just type in a game. I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, what do you want us to play? Just let us know.
Yeah. It can be anything within reason. Nothing super obscure that we'd have to buy a fucking special controller for the Xbox.
Do Steel Battalion.
Yeah, or some weird porn game or something.
Wow. Could play it, but it'd be hard to talk about and show it. So.
Yeah, I'm just not too interested in doing that at all. So that's out of the way. Also, quick reminder as well, Little Nightmares 2, MLB The Show 24, and Quidditch Champions is our games for PlayStation Plus. Make sure to play those. Come back at the end of the month for Plus Club. We'll be reviewing those, and our game of the month is World War Z. Oddly enough, that is a Saber game, and they just released Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. They're pretty similar games, so that's weird. But anyway, we'll be playing World War Z this month and talking about it at the end of the month, and that's when we will be revealing your guys' pick for Game of the Month. Join us for that. It'll be fun. Okay, so let's just jump into Tastecast. Typically, we start with what we've been playing, but I have a couple things I want to bring up first off. Did you see Pocket Pair is finally getting sued by Nintendo?
For patents.
Palworld patents, yes.
Yeah, so it's not... I didn't read it completely. I did see, and feel free to fill in the details because I didn't click on any links or anything. But
there's not a lot of details because even Pocket Pair released a statement saying that they don't know what they're being sued for yet.
Interesting. So patent stuff or whatever they're getting sued for, which is not the same, to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer. Copyright infringement, which was what everyone thought they were going to do initially. So,
yeah. For anybody who hasn't kept up on it, basically, Palworld was a huge sensation that I'm surprised you didn't hear about. There are a lot of designs that feel slightly too very inspired by Pokemon designs. Obviously, Nintendo owns Pokemon. People have been making jokes for a long time that they're going to get sued into hell. We've talked about it. I think maybe there's a couple designs that seem pretty close, but none of them are exactly the same. So I'd be curious to see how that would hold up in court of law.
Assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, sure. But I would guess that's what they're going after him for. And I think it took them this long to finally do it. I think they're trying to make a case because you're not just going to spend money on a lawsuit until you are confident you can win. So, but yeah, Pocket Pair said basically regarding the lawsuit yesterday, a lawsuit was filed against our company for patent infringement. We have received notice of this lawsuit and will begin the appropriate legal proceedings and investigations into the claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon, and we have not been notified of such details, which is kind of crazy. They just basically got told, hey, we're coming after you.
Oh, sounds like Nintendo.
Yeah, for sure. There's even people in the comments going like, Nintendo can't keep getting away with this. Pocket Pair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal is, I'm not going to go into all that. So yeah, basically they are getting ready for legal action, but they don't know exactly what they're being hit with. So that's kind of interesting.
The other part that's going to be hard to comment on that too is I don't know anything about Japanese law.
Yeah.
And they're both Japanese companies. Yep. So it's a big, I don't know on that one, but
yeah,
be curious to see what happens with that. I personally don't think Palworld is in the wrong in any way. They have towed the line very close, I would say. But,
yeah, that's what I would say too.
But it's definitely not Pokemon. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, some of the designs are obviously very inspired, but they're not direct copies. I've seen people put pictures next to each other, and I'm like, for every color that's the same, they've went into. They put the effort into changing enough things on every single one of them that you can't say they're like one-to-one replicas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how it'll work in Japan though in terms of like law, and I wouldn't know here either. I'm not a lawyer, as you said, but
yeah, you'd have a better idea though.
But I at least have a frame of reference of things I've heard for the 37 years I've existed when it comes to law. And, how you could sue somebody for something like that. And a lot of people aren't suing people for similar designs here. It's only if you directly rip someone off, they'll sue the hell out of you. So
yeah, I've heard more cases here of like talking about like real loose stuff is like naming, like having something in your name that's like, well, that kind of sounds like my game's name.
And those are hit or miss. Yeah. I mean, sometimes people are successful in that, and some people aren't. So
Mojang with Scrolls or whatever, and Bethesda was like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude! It's the word Scrolls. Yeah. Are you kidding me? So,
exactly.
Anyways.
So yeah, without having to keep going on about that, we'll stay up to date on what goes on with that, and we'll talk about it further. But as of right now, it is officially on. Second thing I wanted to talk about real quick, because you have played these games in the past, Battlefield is coming back. I made a small TikTok/short about it. Basically, Vince Zampella took over DICE, because I think he's like one of the lead dudes at EA now. And he's overseeing Battlefield, because Battlefield has just been
floundering.
Yeah, going down. Whether you like 5 or 2042, they obviously didn't do as well as EA and DICE would have liked. And I think reception has been overall negative for the most part, which is why Vince Zampella addressed that. But basically, they're going back to basics. They want to make it more like Battlefield 3 and 4 again. It's going to be a modern game. It's going to be a 64-player maps again. I think the new one is like 120 or whatever the hell. They wanted to up the ante, and at this point, there's like, I don't know if we really needed to do that. They're going back to, they're going to have a fucking scoreboard at the end of the match, which is something that they didn't do in 2042. Maybe they have now, I don't know. They're getting rid of specialists. They're going back to classes. I know like a year or two ago, DICE was showing off that they're working on destructibility again, which is good because 2042 was missing that. Some basic shit.
I wonder how much that's going to be AI, but yeah.
Yeah, that's also interesting. But I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but they seem pretty excited by AI. We'll see how that works out for them, because Ubisoft is also excited for AI, and they are in fucking trouble right now. Investors are pissed at AI, or not AI, Ubisoft right now. Did you hear about that?
No.
They're like trying to figure out what to do. They don't know if they like need to go private or like replace Yves Guillemot, or like, because investors are going like, why are your games not selling?
Yeah.
And it's like, us as consumers know why they're not selling, because we don't want to fucking buy them and keep telling them. But Ubisoft's like, no, you're just going to keep buying this shit. And finally, investors getting involved.
To add on to that tangent, fucking Square Enix's numbers for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and 16 for them was too low, even though when you look at the numbers, they were fine.
Square Enix always fucking
They
says that.
they have this weird. They did it with Tomb Raider as well.
Yeah.
Like they're just
They do all the time.
They're so weird about like. They turn, though they are changing that right now, but they've been so bad about like just keeping as a third party developer, basically acting like a first party developer, and not having multi-platform games, which I think has been hurting them a lot too, especially in the PC space. I think a lot of people play on PC now. So,
it's just having my TikTok and having access to so many people commenting on videos about everything. Anytime I bring up console shit now, more and more than I've ever seen in my life, people are going like, just build a PC. Just build a PC. Or people going like, I think I'm going to build a PC. Yeah. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And I'm like, that's interesting because, like, you jump back like 10, 15 years, people are like, I'm not building a fucking PC. Like, I'm not going to sit there at a desk.
2008 as well, though. Like, people are doing PCs more.
Yeah.
But the only reason I bring that up is because, like, Square came out and was like, "Hey, we're gonna start focusing on putting games on everything." Like, and everyone was like, "Okay, about time." Like,
but Final Fantasy 16 just came out on Steam and it's not doing well.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna buy it though because I think I'll actually play through it.
Designed with the PS5 in mind.
Yeah.
Same with Rebirth. Is like there's no release date over a PC copy. So
yeah. But going back to Battlefield real quick, no problem. There's just a lot of shit happening when it comes to all these big devs right now. So, but anyway, Vince Zampella basically said that he wasn't around when they were making 2042, but he acknowledges that the team is talented, they're passionate, they wanted to try out some new things. A lot of those things didn't work out, and so they're gonna just correct course and go back to basics, which is a really nice way of saying I wasn't there, but they're all great. They tried some things. Obviously, you guys didn't like it. We acknowledge that those weren't good, and we're going to fix that. So he's talking to consumers, which these companies need to be fucking doing, and not going like, this is what we want to do. Fuck you guys. There's a balance. We've talked for years, but, you know, do your artistic thing you want to do with your games, but you also have to understand you're selling your game to people, and if they don't want to buy your fucking game, you have to, unless you don't want to sell your shit, you have to listen to them to a certain extent because you're selling a product at the end of the day. He also said that one of his main goals is to basically build a bridge between the gap between the dev and the community, because he understands that the community is not in a good place. He wants to create goodwill for the community, which is great to hear because I don't think people understand like how important it is that he even acknowledges that they need to fix that with the community, because before that with Battlefield 5, when people were complaining about girl with a robot arm in World War II, the devs were like, fuck you, I have a daughter, she needs to be able to play games with girls in it. It's like, okay, slow down. We just were looking for like authenticity, and like these games have never been authentic. Well, before this game, you were trying at least to be a little more authentic, and now you're saying like we want to be Fortnite. Like the conversation there was just like, shut up and just buy the game. And people are like, okay, you want to play that game? Yeah. And now we're at the point where Vince Zampella is going like, we want to fix things with the community. And I have people on my TikTok going like, I don't even know if I want to do that. Like there's still that rift going on. So, and then 2042, people are like, I still want to get a refund for that game. Like I feel like they ripped me off. So there's a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt. Yeah. I do think it is good though they got Vince Zampella overlooking it, because I've only talked good about that dude since the original Call of Duty. So the guy's obviously really good at what he does. I'm not saying he's going to save everything, but I think getting new leadership on a project that was obviously fucking sinking is better than just maintaining the bullshit you've been doing. So that's what Ubisoft's been doing, and it's only gotten worse for everything. So with all that said, what do you think about that? Does that sound like good, bad? You haven't really been playing Battlefield lately, like all the newer ones, but you have played Battlefield in the past, so this isn't completely out of your...
I played a little bit of 5, I thought.
You played 5 for Plus Club. Yeah. You played 2042 for Plus Club. Yeah. Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah. I mean, like the big thing for that one for me, though, was as someone who doesn't really enjoy competitive games, it had bot support, so I could just play it.
2042, yeah.
Was it 2042?
Yeah.
I played one of them with you, and it had bot support. So,
we played 5 online with Josh.
I think that one still has bot support. I just don't think we did it.
I don't know.
Because I think I played it later by myself.
That conversation we had about 2042, though, the exact thing you're talking about.
I could be getting mixed up. I don't know. But either way, just like I've kind of had with Call of Duty, there's things I like there, but like overall, I'm not playing them. And I did play Battlefield 3 and 4 a pretty decent amount, not like a lot, but I enjoyed them. So I would like to enjoy another one, but I also am kind of in a weird position where, like, if I hear just overwhelming negativity about it, it's a game that kind of depends on having an audience involved with it. So why would I invest into something that looks like it's sinking? So
that's why I didn't buy Concord.
Yeah,
is the overwhelming negativity about it, even though I was like, the gameplay is actually really good. It's a super AAA game. I hate the way the characters look. I don't give a fuck about the story. And it's not bringing anything new to the table, so it's not very exciting. But like, if people are going to play it, I might pick it up. But then I saw it come out and people were not playing. I'm like, I'm not touching that game. It's going to die. And then it died faster than I ever could imagine. And so, even if you're like on board with 21 or 2042 or Battlefield 5, and people are still playing them, so it's not that big a deal. But, it doesn't bode well for you to play an online game if it starts out and the community's like, half the community's like, nah, I'm not playing that. So, as I said in my TikTok, I would love excitement to be part of the Battlefield name again, and not one of these like Disney Star Wars riffs where half the people are like, it's great, shut up, and the other people are like, this game's the worst thing ever, and I hate this company, they should fail. It'd be nice to, just have a little more positivity towards it. But that's not saying consumers need to do that. It's the game needs to bring that naturally. And so, it would be nice for them to release something that had people more motivated to want to play it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Battlefield fan though, or was. The last great Battlefield was Battlefield 1, in my opinion. I think that game's like fantastic.
Oh, I guess I played a little bit too.
I loved 4, 3. I love 2142. I would love a new one of those, but I think it is smart for them to go back to Modern Warfare and then maybe make a futuristic one later, but still stick to the Battlefield formula. Don't fucking change shit up. I love almost every single Battlefield. But 5 felt soulless, looked nice, but DICE can do that easily. And then 2042 felt soulless to me as well, and also deviated too many places, and they put emphasis on certain things and took away things that were like things Battlefield is known for, and that kind of kills it for me. And then of course server issues, all that shit. So I've been kind of out with Battlefield for a long time, and I would love a new Battlefield that I want to play because I love Battlefield. So this isn't saying like I would never play Battlefield again, but I would. I'd love a new one that was good, and if they're taking this serious, which it sounds like they are, I'm excited for it. I have to see it first. I have to take that back. I'm not excited for it. I'm excited about the prospect of a new Battlefield that is doing what they're saying they're trying to do right now. Even working on the destructibility again is a good sign, because they really pushed their game in a direction that Call of Duty couldn't touch. In that regard, the big thing for Battlefield is spectacle. The spectacle of battle, the spectacle of destruction, the spectacle of just, bigger, larger than life things happening in a dynamic way. Call of Duty doesn't have that. Call of Duty's, role based, and like, just this gun works this way, run in, get as many kills as you can, fucking trying to die too many times. And Battlefield just has a different vibe to it. And so, if they can kind of get back to that place, I'd fucking love that. So, but again, they've released 2 games I have not been a fan of. So I'm not at the point where I have no faith in them, but I hope they can nail it. But I have a good feeling. Just listening to Vince Zampella talk about it, it sounds like they had a meeting where they're like, what went wrong with 2042? Okay, all those things, we're not doing that anymore. Like, we're going back, and that's what people want. So I'm happy about that. Anything else you want to say on Battlefield? No? Okay. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about that. And then the next thing we'll talk about before we talk about what we've been playing is it's September. It's already almost October. This year's just flying by. We're getting close to the end of the year, and as you guys know, we do a annual Game of the Year discussion where we talk about all the games we played throughout the year, and we pick a Game of the Year individually. We don't do a collective one, and then we have 2 runner-ups because we like runner-ups around here because it's not fun to just go, this is the best, and everything sucks.
Yeah.
There's nuance with everything. And so that's always a fun conversation to have. We'll try to get everybody on when we do that. But because we are running out of time with this year, I kind of wanted to discuss real quick what I'm going to call a hit list of games that either we've already played but we haven't finished, games we've already played that we maybe want to put some more time into, and games that are still coming out that we need to kind of get wrapped up before the end of the year, before that discussion. Games that possibly could... Maybe they're not going to even be on the list at all, but games that like could maybe be on that Game of the Year list. Yeah, there's been a lot of games this year. I've played plenty. I've beaten a bunch of games recently, which is fucking weird for me. But I still have some games sitting on my back burner that I need to beat, and there's still games for me that I really want to pick up when they come out. Luckily, and we'll talk about it, but I picked up Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, and I've technically finished that, so that's weight off my shoulders. But what do you got?
Well, I'm going to start with the first half of the list, which will be my realistic expectations part. I have 3 games that I've started and that I am reasonably almost done with, I would say. Those are for me Elden Ring, and I know the base game obviously didn't come out this year, but the DLC expansion, whatever it is,
which will be eligible,
and I'd like to play it. Yeah. So, and I think that is manageable. I just have to get because we're playing co-op. I need to get you and Chris available on the same day to just like do that. But
yeah, if you ever just want to play with Chris too, that's fine. But I would like to play with you guys. Okay. It's just lately it hasn't been good timing.
When I have been putting renewed effort into is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I started it when it came out. I got all the way into chapter 12 and I stopped.
Yeah, you're like almost there.
So I picked it back up not even a week ago, I don't think. Maybe it was about a week ago. I am now, I think, almost done with chapter 13 as of recording this. So I'm hoping to be done with it before I go on my trip. So I can start on something else as well. So that's my other one. I'm going to absolutely try to get done in a realistic sense. And then the last of the 3 that I think that I can get done for sure is Dragon's Dogma 2. I played through a huge chunk of that game and then stopped because too many games. And I can't focus on one at a time apparently. So
yeah, I went insane on that game and beat it in 3 days.
Yeah, and I've played it a lot, so I assume I can probably get through it if I just like buckle down and do it. So.
It's actually a really short game. I mean, like if you're doing every little thing, and I did a lot of shit, but
I was doing every little thing. So.
But like obviously, like some people are exploring like every inch of every blade of grass. That could take a while, but I was actually surprised on how like short it was.
Yeah. So those 3 games are the ones I want to like hard focus on. Now, time permitting, my other desirables for the year are I bought Unicorn Overlord. I really want to play it. I played the beginning of the game. I absolutely adore the art style, and the gameplay is right up my alley. So I'd like to play that. Beating it, big question mark. It's a tactical game. That is a long sit usually, but I would like to. Another game I bought that I have not even touched yet, which would probably be relatively short, is Stellar Blade. Would like to play through that as well before the end of the year if I can. And then probably the bigger game that's coming out very soon is Metaphor. I can't remember the
Re-Fantasio.
Yeah, Re-Fantasio. I would like to play that. I also know Atlas. That is not going to be a little game. Persona 5 is massive game, and this is the same people. So
luckily, I feel a little more drive to want to play through that game than Persona 5, as much as I appreciate that game and liked what I have played of it, which is almost nothing because that game's so fucking big.
But like 100 hours.
What they're doing with Metaphor is so much more interesting to me visually, because it's more of just a fantasy game and not like a high school. Like, it's Persona's Persona, but like, and I think it's really cool, but like it's a very like anime, like, you know, Japanese, like modern RPG that just has a different vibe. But like Metaphor has something that feels a little more closer to like a classic JRPG that I just want to play more. So even though obviously it has a lot of things they're bringing over, like the UI and shit looks very Persona-esque.
Yeah, those are the big ones I want to play this year, though. That's pretty much my whole list. I'm sure there's something maybe I'm missing, but those are the ones I know off the top of my head. So,
yeah, that's a good responsible list. I have more things coming out that I need to play than you, but when it comes to backlog stuff, I never picked up Unicorn Overlord, and you reminded me of that. I need to pick that up. I want to play it. I don't know if I'll be able to beat it by the end of the year. I don't know if it'd be my game of the year or runner-ups at all, so I don't know if I should prioritize it or not. But I do really want to play it. I do really want to support that game. Black Myth Wukong, I should play at some point. It obviously did really well. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. Looks cool. It's a game that's right up my alley. It hasn't been a high priority for me to play, but I do want to play it, and I should probably at least attempt to play and see if it jives with me before the end of the year. So, yeah, I need to beat Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth because I've been playing it since it came out, and I stopped playing it because the gameplay is awesome, but the story just kind of fell off for me, and probably picks up later, but yeah, I just found interest in something else and moved on with my life. But I need to go back, see if I can muster up enough interest to maybe finish it before the end of the year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, same story, exact same story. Was enjoying playing it. The structure of the gameplay I met with, how the story's told, is long feeling though, and so my motivation to keep going through the game for the main reason I want to play the game, which is the story, I just feel distracted from it. So I need to go back and try to finish it. Yeah. I think those are my big back burner games. Luckily, some of my favorite games of the year so far I've finished. So I need to see if any of those can kind of, maybe budge some of the stuff I already really like. Games coming out still that I am going to prioritize for the end of the year. Silent Hill 2. That game slowly has looked better and better and better to me. And it's going to be a huge defining moment of how I view Konami moving forward, because I want them. I don't expect them to, but I would like them to make good games again. Mm-hmm. And if they can start doing that, Silent Hill 2 will be a big indicator for me on that. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid Delta. It's gonna do a lot for my perspective on Konami moving forward. But I have gone from going, that game doesn't look right, but I appreciate the effort, but it's probably gonna suck, to going, it actually is looking pretty good now. So they've been listening to feedback, they've changed a lot of things, and yeah, when that comes out, I think next month, I will definitely be playing it, and I will likely easily beat it. I love survival horror games. They're really easy for me to just play through and beat. So next one is Metaphor ReFantazio. I am also really interested in playing that. I'm definitely going to pick it up, see if I get hooked or not. It's going to be a big game, but if it's really good, I'll play it. So, but yeah, it looks really fucking good. That game went from like, oh yeah, that looks cool. Those guys made Persona. This is also looking really neat, to go in like, that looks like a really good JRPG, like one of the best looking ones I've seen in a long time, upcoming JRPGs. So yeah, I'm really excited to play it. My most hyped game at this point, outside the ones I've already played this year now, is Stalker 2. I don't know if it's going to get delayed or not. I don't think so. I think it comes out in November. That's a must play for me. I love the original Stalker. I'm a huge fan of it. So yeah, Stalker 2 is
You'll get through that in a week.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play the fuck out of that. And then I think Indiana Jones: The Great Circle is coming out this year still, but I think it's like early December.
Oh, so it doesn't even matter. It'll be next year's title.
Well, but if I beat it before we do the show,
Sure.
This isn't the Game Awards, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's kind of in that spot though.
It's a tricky spot. So, but I don't think it'll be in my top 3. But it looks really good. It looks really fun. So I want to give it an honest shot.
Yeah, I'm curious. It definitely needed to come out, and I need to hear stuff about it first. But it looks cool.
I mean, it looks as engaging as the Wolfenstein games they made.
That I didn't play.
They're fucking awesome. Except for the one about the twins. That one was stupid. They deviated too much. It's like, if you make something, evolve it, but don't deviate from what people liked about it before, because that's such a bad recipe. It's like fucking Far Cry 5 is like my favorite Far Cry easily, but then they made that fucking expansion or that DLC.
Was that the Dino thing?
Huh?
Was that the Dino thing? Or was that before that?
No, that came out like 3 Far Cries before that.
Okay. I can't keep track.
Yeah. That's I can't remember now because you said Dino. Primal?
Yeah.
Far Cry Primal?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but 5 was like fantastic. I fucking love that game. And then the DLC came out and it like changed things visually, added characters that were stupid, continued the story of certain characters in really bad ways, and changed the gameplay, made it try to make it more like a fucking everybody's got health bars above their head and shit.
Someone else did that too.
A bunch of people have it. It's just a really good. Everybody tried it out for a second and realized people are like, "What are you doing? Your last game that we loved didn't do this.
Right.
Why are you changing things?"
Yeah, don't change fundamentals.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. It's like, I can't believe you don't have people in these meetings going like, let's stick with what people liked.
Wow, and in all honesty, a lot of these companies don't even have people who play video games making the games. So
yeah, well, you see that a lot with producers in movies too, who are like not creative types. We're like, I don't want you to do that because I'm paying for this. It's like, sure, it's your money, I guess. I think that's it. I think that's my hit list. So we'll see how much I get knocked off that.
Yeah, running out of time for sure. So
Yeah,
got a quarter of the year left.
Do you have anything else?
God, I hope not.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments, what games are you guys prioritizing to beat by the end of the year? What games are you looking forward to still at the very small part of the end of the year, still coming out? And out of our lists, what games would you suggest us prioritize? Maybe there's some game that we haven't beaten or we're still waiting to play that you're really excited about, or you have played through and you're like, no, this one's really good. That one kind of sucks. You should definitely play through that one if you can. I know people are still saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is like game of the year material. So, and they're still saying that. They've been saying that since it came out, and they're still saying it. So, that's encouraging, I guess. So, yeah, no, I haven't had anything spoiled for that game for me still, which is fucking wild.
Me either, actually.
Yeah, that's not an invite. Don't tell us anything.
Yeah. I had some cool cutscenes last night. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious about how that ends.
Part of the game, in my opinion, but
yeah, for sure. A lot of the nostalgia stuff in that game's like my favorite thing about it.
The first game, especially, but
oh yeah,
Midgard's so iconic. So
oh yeah, yeah. Let's know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to games you need to play before the end of the year. All right, let's jump into what we've been playing. What have you been playing last week?
Not a lot. So I've been playing Final Fantasy 14, doing the grind, still in that. I got all my crafters to level 100, so I'm done with my crafters. All my gatherers are 100, so I can do all the crafting I want. I'm just now making the best gear for them and then getting all the materia I need to basically be maxed out until the next major patch comes out that adds more crafting, gathering stuff. So I have all my healers are 100. My summoner is 100, and I started leveling Pictomancer, which is one of the new jobs. I have it at 85 right now. It starts at 80. So I've gotten 5 levels. Not a whole lot. I haven't actually had a lot of time to play, so it's been rough.
That's the one that paints.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Which thematically I'm not super into. Gameplay-wise, it is probably closer to what I want Black Mage to be like, and I don't want them to change it now. The game has an established Black Mage, so I'm not trying to piss off Black Mage mains or anything, but my idea of how you cast spells, Black Mage feels weird to me. I do think Picto feels pretty good. I'm not in love with the whole concept of it, though, so I'm like just never excited to play it. But it's fun enough, and I'll get through it just because that is a game I am a completionist in, so, or at least try to be. I think after that I'll probably level Red Mage. I usually do it like category at a time so I can keep armor for leveling instead of having to reacquire it constantly. So, which is different than how Rob plays, because Rob levels like everything to 91 and then everything to 92 and then everything. He just goes all.
Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah, and that's how he likes to do it, and then they all hit 100 basically at the same time. And I'm like, oh, that's the way you want to do it. I need.
He also in Minecraft likes to just start digging in a square and just keep going down. It's very robotic.
Yeah.
Robotic, but so that kind of makes in a weird way sense.
Also, yesterday, happy 41st, Rob.
Holy shit, is he 41?
Yeah.
Damn, happy birthday, Rob.
So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. It's been a little hard to raid because adults are adulting. I'm hoping we get one run in before my trip, but we'll see. It probably won't happen. We'll probably have to just be on break until I return to the States. So I think that's all I've been doing in that game. So other than that, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. When I left off, I was in Chapter 12, without saying too much, obviously, because I don't want to spoil for you guys or Seth. But it's a lot of gold saucer stuff in 12. And so I was being a little bit of a completionist on that until I got put into a position where I had to get certain high scores on some of the minigames. And I'm just going to be kind of blunt about one of them. The boxing minigame is not fun. Like, I hate it. So, no, I won't do that quest. Being a completionist went out the window the moment I was doing that and decided I'd rather pull my hair out. So not doing that. Which sucks because I unlocked the ability to craft some armor, which allows me to break the damage cap. And I have to do that mini game to do it. So I'm over it. I will be stuck at 9,999 damage, and I'll just have to be okay with it. So, all my characters are in their late 40s, early 50s level wise.
Just like Rob
and myself. Yeah, I can't say too much because the chapter I'm in right now, 13, is very story heavy. But to draw a comparison to the OG game, it is the Temple of the Ancients part of the game. So I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha.
So lots of the learning some major plot points of the world and the ancients and stuff. So it's been great. I want to play it right now. So the Gold Saucer was a huge stopping point for me. And now I'm in the story stuff again. I'm like, oh yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the part I was enjoying the most, story stuff. So
yeah, and their cutscenes are just like so good. In both games. So in all their games, I don't know why I eliminated at 7. Square's are really good at cutscenes. So yeah, that's all I can say. So that's what I've been playing.
Nothing else?
Nothing worth mentioning.
Okay. I've only played 3 things, and most of it has been one game. I tried a game called Fierce to Fathom Home Alone. I'm sure anybody who knows the series
that is a name
knows all about it. I only found out about these games recently. There's like 5 of them. It's an anthology episodic horror game. Each game is its own story.
Okay.
And I saw that the 5th one came out, and I was like, there's 4 of these? So, because Steam's like, hey, you want to buy this? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. So I watched it a little bit. I'm like, is this a horror game? And then I read down below, it's a horror game.
We tried to sell to me, Steam.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I was reading about the game, and everybody's like, oh, it's creepy. I'm like, okay. I saw there's 4 other games. The first one, Home Alone, is a free-to-play game. So I was like, I'll download that.
Okay.
And I didn't get very far into it because something happened that was wild. But basically, from what I've gathered, Fears to Fathom Home Alone is basically the story of a kid whose mom is out of town at the time. There's a lot of points where you got to pull your phone up and read texts and reply to them and stuff. There's multiple stories happening. Your mom's making sure you're eating while she's gone, all this stuff. You have a friend who you're going to have come over and play video games with, but they can't make it because their girlfriend or something like that. And so you're home alone. And so it kind of plays off the idea of when you're a younger kid and you're at home alone and it starts getting dark out, it gets kind of creepy.
True.
And so in the beginning of the game, you wake up, you go make food, you watch TV, you eat it. Then you go upstairs. You're like, fuck, I got to get some homework done. So you do some homework. Then you go to sleep. Then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I'm really thirsty. And
I wish I had these problems.
Yeah. And so I'm walking around the house and everything's totally changed at this point. The music's creepier. It's darker in the house. You can't turn any of the lights on, which is wild. That never happened to me as a kid. But I'm looking for water to drink because this house doesn't have a bathroom in it, which is really weird. It's got like an upstairs with 2 bedrooms, downstairs a living room, a kitchen. I think there's a laundry room, and that was it. I was like, where do I get water from? So I'm like wandering around the house. I go to the kitchen. I can't find anything that gives you water in the game. I'm sure it's going to be a super simple thing to figure out, but I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with the house because it's like dark and the music's creepier. And I realize I can go in the backyard. So I'm like, why would I even need to go out here for? So like I open the back door, I walk out there and shit. I'm like, okay, can I go in the front yard? And so like I walk into the house, I walk up to the front door. Nothing's happened that's even remotely scary. I open the front door, and as soon as I open the front door, a guy steps out from behind the front door, looks at me. It makes a fucking crazy loud static noise that sounds like a scream. It goes, wah! And then the game exited. The game just turned off.
Oh, it crashed.
It didn't crash.
Oh.
I ain't get no crash thing. The game just shut off. And I'm like, do I have to start the game back up and start over? It didn't even send me to like you want to retry, or it didn't send me back to the main menu. The game just turned off. So not only was this unexpected, and I don't jump easy in games, not only was this unexpected dude just stepping out from behind a door, I didn't expect them to program. There's no reason for me to go out in the front yard. So me going to walk out there, they had programmed the guy being there behind the fucking door to the front door, popping out and screaming at me, and then the game just shut off. Like, it sent a fucking tingle down my spine, and my arms were, I was like, what the and the thing that was the worst about it is, not only did I get freaked the fuck out, which is rare for me, but then I was confused because the game shut off. So I was just like left like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And so I haven't played it since, but that's about as far as I made it. And it's about 15 minutes into it, maybe 10.
Maybe it wasn't part of the game. Maybe it was real, dude.
Maybe. But I was reading reviews and people were like, it's terrifying. This dude's just in your house the whole time. And I'm like, was he? I don't even know. Like, I know nothing about this fucking game. So that'd be really creepy if he's wandering around.
Just to scream at you?
Yeah, well, that's a lot of horror games nowadays. It's like, it just goes to a black screen after something yells and that's it, and it kind of sucks, but whatever. Yeah, I need to play it some more, but it has me interested in the other games. So, and I kind of like that they're like these little bite-sized horror games. So, and it's good of them to release the first one for free if they're just blindly wanting you to buy these like little short. People say you can beat these games like 20 minutes, and you know, if it's like a couple bucks to play them and you get like a fun horror story out of it, I think it's kind of cool. So yeah, so that's something I interacted with. I don't know if I played it.
They played you.
Yeah, it definitely fucking played me. I have played a little bit of the finals in the last week, but I've basically finished everything I need to finish in Season 3, preparing for Season 4, which comes out next week. I think it's like 6 days out now. So really fucking excited for that. We actually will be watching a teaser for it here in a little bit, in which I will try not to gush too much about what I think is happening with it. I don't spend too much time on it, but I haven't talked about it. I feel like I should. But yeah, I've done everything in the finals. I fucking love that game. It was nice to revisit it. It always sucks at the end of the season when I have everything knocked out and there's no reason to keep playing anymore outside of, the gameplay. But one of the fun things about enjoying the gameplay is also unlocking shit. And now I can put that time into other things, so I'm not playing as much. But luckily, Season 4 is like right around the corner. I can't wait for it. There's a lot of things that are being speculated about, a lot of things that we've heard, a lot of things in this teaser that when we watch it, I'll talk about. But yeah, once Season 4 starts, I will be going hard on it again, which is just great to have a first-person shooter that I feel this invested in still, because a lot of them, I've skipped like the last 2 Call of Duties. I'm probably not going to pick up Black Ops 6. It doesn't look that interesting to me. There is no Battlefield.
A little bit I've seen gameplay-wise on it. It doesn't even look like Call of Duty to me anymore.
It's just not interesting to me. It's just people diving around and doing weird shit to people. The new teabag basically is just grabbing people and simulating certain things while talking in their ear, which is funny for memes, but for a game that I'm gonna possibly invest time into, it's not interesting, especially when it's just how good the fucking finals is gameplay wise. It's so fresh. It's kind of ruined a lot of things for me. Like when I look at other shooters, I'm just like, what do you like? Concord, I'm like, this game's like fucking fine for sure. There's nothing wrong with the outside of the game or the character design, but like games like the finals exist. Why the hell would I spend time here unless I was done with everything in the finals? It'd be like a great B shooter, but that no shooter that's always online is going to want to be your B shooter. So they got to make money. So anyway, finals are great. Really enjoying it. Of course, and I can't wait for Season 4. And if you haven't played the finals yet, you should play it. It's free to play. And then the last game I have played mostly this week was Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which I finally got around to playing. And it's awesome. I really fucking like it. It's definitely one of my favorite games this year, which is easy to say. Basically, it's got a campaign that you can play co-op in. It's got a co-op mode that you can play co-op in that has progression. Then it has a PvP mode I haven't touched yet, but people seem to really like it. So it feels like a full suite of content. Some people are complaining the game is kind of short and doesn't have enough content. I don't feel that myself. I kind of appreciate that the campaign's not super long. It kind of reminds me of like a Call of Duty, except for in a good way. You get a campaign, you get to experience something, you get to play co-op. It's actually a really good story. I won't talk about it at all because it's still pretty fresh, but even as somebody who's not super into Warhammer and doesn't know much about the lore, but I know a little bit now, it still resonated with me. I was like, this is fucking a really cool story. They did a really good job on variety as well. At first you think you're just doing this, but eventually you're fighting whole new enemy types, and there's huge spectacle scenes that like big set pieces that you just don't see in games as much anymore, which is fucking weird. And they did a really good job. Like, this is definitely Saber's like most realized game. They just knocked out of the park with this fucking game. I also think it's funny the Asmongold thing. He was like talking good about that game, and I don't know what he said directly because I didn't watch this thing, but I think like the lead dude at Saber was just saying like, he commented on his video and he was like, yeah, we just like want to make a fun game. We wanted to like make like a more old school style game where you just play it, you have fun, that's it. There's no like, we're not trying to give you messages or like tell you how to think about certain things. We just want you to play the game and enjoy yourself. And a lot of people thought that was controversial. People were trying to investigate if he actually commented that, and Saber was like, we're not going to comment on if that was him or not. So everybody's like, it was him then. Like, you would just deny it if it wasn't. Yeah. And then I think they came out and said it was. But I love how that's controversial. So anyway, it's been received well, and They set out to just make a fun game, and they fucking did. The co-op operations, there's only 6 missions, but each mission lasts pretty long time, are a lot of fun, and it's neat because those co-op operations have to do with the story of the campaign. So I would suggest playing through the campaign before you touch those, and it even warns you to do that. But you can play the operations if you just want to jump in. But I have people on my TikTok going like they started with operations, and I'm like, there's context to all those missions though that is in the campaign. So it's probably better to do the campaign, but play how you want. But yeah, the operations are cool because there's like I think 6 classes. Each class you level up. They have perk trees. They have unique abilities. They have specific weapons they can only use. And there's weapons in the operations mode that are not in the campaign. So there's like all new shit to experience in operations, which I think is just fucking awesome. Because I was satisfied with the campaign. Then I got to operations. I was like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Like, that's fucking cool. All the weapons you can upgrade as well. So there's like stuff to work towards. And there's all these like color schemes, armors to unlock. You can mix and match things or wear the exact armor of specific Space Marines in Warhammer lore. Sarah instantly picked one when she saw it. She's like, oh, these guys are my favorite. And I was like, that's cool. You can even have that choice. For me, I was like, this one just looks cool to me. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Crossplay seems to work just fine. I've played with people on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Load times were slow when it came to like finding servers, but I played like not that long ago and it was like really fast. I think they patched something. And then yeah, PvP, you fight against each other. I think it has its own progression as well. I haven't touched it yet, but I want to try it out. But I wanted to play it with friends, so I'll probably wait till somebody's on to play it. Everyone I know is either still playing through the campaign, except for Sarah. Me and Sarah beat it together, and we both had a lot of fun with it. But I think Josh was still playing the campaign. I saw Cody just picked it up. And so, yeah, get through the campaign so we do the co-op and PvP stuff. But, yeah, I highly recommend Space Marine 2. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. The control scheme is interesting. But after you get used to it, it makes complete sense. Basically, you can either choose to use your primary gun as your main weapon, but still swing your melee weapon, or use one weapon in one hand, so a pistol or whatever, and then a weapon in the other hand, a hammer, chain sword, all that stuff, and you left click to hip fire, right click to on PC. It actually made way more sense on a controller. But right click to swing your weapon, parry was C. I had to move that to my side mouse button because it has a parry system where people attack you can grab them and kill them. And then to aim down sight, you have to, I don't know if I set this up this way or if it was default, but I have it as middle click. I think it's just default like that. So it doesn't have a control scheme that's standard by any means. But once you get used to it, it all makes sense on why they have it like that. So, but yeah, I talked to a couple people either today or a day ago that like most people are like celebrating this game, but some people are like, yeah, it wasn't really for me. The combat was kind of weird. I'm like, I get it. Like I thought that at first too, but I got used to it, but to each their own. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be for everybody, but I would highly recommend it if you haven't played it yet and you're even curious about it at all. You don't have to be a Warhammer fan to like it or enjoy it as well. It's just a super solid game, but that's what Saber does. So not surprised there. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. 3 games, barely. Fears to Fathom just kind of almost gave me a heart attack, and that was about it. It's like a heart attack simulator. So I was just happy, like, to legitimately be scared in a game because it was so unexpected when that happened. I was just like, I haven't felt that in a long time. Just that pure fucking fear to fathom. Anything else? All right, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think, or not think? What games have you guys been playing? What games are you planning on playing? And what games do you think we should be playing? Are you playing the finals? Are you going to play Season 4? Have you played Space Marine 2? Do you know what Fears of Fathom is? And play Final Fantasy 14. Don't say anything about Rebirth. I don't want to hear anything about it. But if you like it, that's fine. You can tell me that. Or if you dislike it, that's cool too. Let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to all that shit. Okay, we got 5 videos to watch, so we'll try to be quick about some of them. First one is the finals official season 4 teaser trailer. Now, this is only going to be really for me and anybody who's maybe possibly curious about the finals, or the rare amount of us who are fans of the finals, even though there is a decent community. It's not growing, but you get matches quick, so people are playing the fucking game. So maybe you're one of those people and you're interested in this. But it's like 26 seconds long. So we're going to watch it real quick, and then I'm going to go through it real quick and just kind of mention some of the things I kind of notice out of it. I have watched this, so this is purely for conversation, and I don't think you've seen it at all. Mm-hmm. You have played the finals. You've enjoyed it, it seems, when you have played it. Yeah. Which is cool.
I'm not super competitive, and it is a very hyper-competitive game, so it's I burn out really fast. But
yeah, that's fair. And my competitive side really comes out playing this game. But yeah, there'll be maybe something here for you, at least if you have any curiosity. For anybody who's curious, season 1 was basically the game show of the finals. It's this virtual game show that people are playing that's being sponsored by all these different companies. Yeah. And then season 2's theme was Las Vegas, Nevada type stuff. So there was like casino stuff, Las Vegas map, alien stuff because of Area 51, and there was also
I thought season 2 was the hacking.
No, season 1 was Vegas. Yeah, Vegas. Yep, Vegas was in season 1. Season 2 is CNS hacking, which gave us this like digital map that I think at some point they're going to try and realize into an actual map. That'd be cool, but it's got this different look than the other maps that existed, and then also had a lot of like digital and like hacking themed stuff that came out with it. Introduced a bunch of new gadgets and weapons as well. And then season 3, which is the season we're finishing up, was Japanese themed, which was aesthetically for me very very cool. Although I do think the season started strong and then kind of tapered off. They did support the game very well with a lot of things to unlock from the beginning, but they didn't add a whole lot of events throughout the season, which kind of made it hard to return outside of like, oh, I got to finish this up, and because I'm going to play because it's fun. But like season 2, I think they did a really good job of like towards the end of the season releasing like bonus tiers to the battle pass and just events that you had to be there to like. There's certain outfits I see still. There's only 2 of them, but like outfits I'll see that I'm like, fuck, I wish I played during that event because I really wanted that. So maybe they'll release them later. But and then season 4 is supposed to be a return to form when it comes to the competition of the finals. People feel that the game has kind of gotten away from that initial season 1 feel of that this is this big competition that people are trying to reach the finals, but they are putting a big emphasis on the companies that sponsor the finals in season 4. So it's like NGMO and a couple other ones I can't Dissen something Issen, I don't remember. There's like 4 or 5 of them, but they're supposed to be more present in this season, which will be interesting. But yeah, we'll watch this and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
This is the finals official season 4 teaser trailer in 3, 2, 1, go. It's going to go fast.
It's showtime!
All right, so that went fast. Anybody who doesn't play the game probably didn't notice anything out of that. But real quick, a couple things I want to mention that we saw there, outside of the dual deagles, which is a brand new gun that is being added to the heavy. Where's the thing at? Oh, speed. Well, let me just read this real quick so we have some context. Okay, so in this season, they're adding ranked cash-out tournaments. It's just ranked stuff if you're into that. New seasonal content, which is, of course, is expected. New cosmetics, animations, weapon skins, all sorts of shit. New map, Fortune Stadium, which is supposed to be a map that celebrates, I believe, all 4 of the sponsors. It's going to have colors based off those sponsors in those areas. So when you run to their area, they're all going to look different, which will be interesting. It's an original map. Some of the maps are based off of real locations. Enhanced new World Tour, something they tried in Season 3. World Tour is a pretty fun mode, but it's supposed to be going around the world, and it's this big competition that as you play it, you progress to different ranks, and you can't derank, so it's supposed to be casual friendly, but a lot of people didn't think it was. An improved tutorial, which I think is crucial because the game's having problems getting new players. And I think a new tutorial or improved tutorial would be a better entry point, considering there's still a lot of people who get confused with the game modes in the game because they're not just deathmatch. And then new sponsor career, which from everything I've read so far sounds as though you are going to be progressing down each sponsor, and they'll have their own things to unlock, and then you'll be able to do the next sponsor. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what it sounds like. Even one of the people at Embark said they were currently working on one sponsor, but there's another sponsor that had stuff they really wanted to, that they were going to start working on. So that basically sounds like that. Okay, so in the trailer, did I slow this down? I did. Mm-hmm. We basically get a couple shots of the new map. This doesn't really mean much for anybody who's not playing the game, but from what we see, it looks pretty decent looking. It looks very much like a lot of the earlier maps from the first season, the more competition-looking ones, which is pretty cool. We get like a glimpse of the dual deagles, which is the new weapon for the heavy, something that I think kind of manifested actually from the subreddit. People, including myself, said, heavy doesn't have a pistol, so what would you give the heavy? And people were like, 2 Desert Eagles. And it's like, that'd be cool. Sacrifice accuracy for being able to regularly fire, but people are assuming you're not gonna be able to aim down sight with these, but just kind of zoom in a little bit. I hope that's the case, but it definitely seems to be the case from what we're seeing briefly here. We're getting some glimpses of some of the sponsors colors, which I think is pretty cool looking. In this picture, we get the biggest hint of what because it's not confirmed yet, what the 3 classes are getting weapon-wise. We already know dual Desert Eagles for the heavy. Looks like the light is going to get, I think it's called an M26 or M something, but it's an auto shotgun. There's another scene later where you see the light holding it, and it's definitely that gun. So they're going to get an auto shotgun, and then it looks like the medium is getting another assault rifle. It's either an M4, M16, or some people are saying Galil, which I think is an Israeli rifle. But medium already has rifles, multiple of them, so it's kind of weird they're getting another one, but that's fine. Sounds cool to me. So I'm mostly curious about this shotgun with the light, because lights move fast, do a lot of damage, but are super squishy. And they already have a shotgun that's a double barrel sawed-off shotgun that does a shitload of damage. Yeah. It goes boom, boom, and then you have to reload. So the balance is kind of there. An auto shotgun, I don't know how much rounds that thing's going to have and how fast it's going to shoot or how weak it will be. So we'll find out. But just kind of an interesting thing to see some new weapons introduced and no new gadgets. We haven't heard anything about that. So there's a lot of people talking about possibly we're not getting new gadgets this season, which would suck, but also I would hate them to just shove a bunch of gadgets in that ruin the game over time. I want them to be inspired and make the right choices for how we're going to evolve the gameplay.
You can't just make stuff to make stuff. So.
Well, yeah, and if there's anything I learned from the subreddit, even though it's a really good subreddit and there's a lot of fun conversations there, people want really, really stupid things added to the game that I think would ruin the game. And so I hope a lot of those things don't make it in there. And so if they're like, we're not going to introduce gadgets, it's like, okay, cool. Just wait till you have a really good idea that will actually enhance the gameplay, not just be like, oh, you can drop 3 plates of shields and you can just take more damage now. That would fucking suck. I would hate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so more of the new map. Big open area. We got some ledges on the side of a building. Destructibility, of course. The Finals has the best destructibility in any modern game. And then we get another shot. It looks like we got skins here. It's not going to mean anything for anybody who's not playing the game, but these weapons already exist in the game, but they look different. This almost looks like a rapier. I think that's the AKM, but that looks different. And then that's definitely the LMG for the heavy, but also looks different. Almost looks like a AK-47 like LMG, which is kind of cool. So yeah, cosmetics, of course. Oh, right here we see the auto shotgun with the light. You can see. Oh, and one last thing I gotta add too. But yeah, see,
Yeah.
it's a magazine-fed shotgun, which is interesting. And then they're adding new sights to weapons, which, if you don't know, the finals doesn't have scopes to put on your guns. So this is actually a big new thing. We see the AKM, which doesn't have a scope, with like an ACOG on it. So that's going to be pretty huge. I'll be curious to see how that works and how many weapons get scopes. I don't know if it's going to be every weapon or certain weapons will have options, but I'm definitely open to it, specifically because there's already a rifle that has a scope, and it's like the only reason you use that scope or that rifle is because it has a scope. Otherwise, there's no reason to touch it. And now if you can just swap those out, it's really going to change things up. But I don't think it's like a big enough change that's going to like ruin anything. I think it'll only be better for it. So more cosmetics. We get a shot of the dual Desert Eagles shooting people really far away. So I don't know about that accuracy thing. And then more of the map, which looks really fresh, looks cool. I'll have to play it to really get an opinion on the layout. We see that rapier skin right here. It's like almost like a fencing. Oh, they're adding facial hair as well and new faces. So we'll get mustaches, beards, stuff like that. This face I don't recognize, so that's also cool.
That's definitely a foil they're holding in that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, so new faces, which is definitely welcome because the faces in the game right now are all really meh. If there's one thing that's meh about the game, it's the faces in the game. So they don't really have much character. And then new cosmetic, some kind of glowing eye mask thing, which is pretty cool looking. I'm mostly interested in the eyes. And yeah, that's coming September 26th. So really soon. I'm really excited. Is there anything from that you got out of that? Or am I just gushing and talking about shit that I'm excited for?
I mean, it's going to be hard for me to take anything from that because I don't play the game really. So, yeah, if any of the guns feel good, whenever I do get around to trying it again at some point, that'll be nice. But as far as like any excitement for it, not really.
Yeah.
So.
As opposed to season 3, when it came to the Japanese theme stuff, and then seeing this, do you think this is like did you prefer what they did with season 3 in terms of like what you saw from it, or do you think this is like a better direction, or?
I don't even know if I have an opinion.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play season 3 either.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, never mind.
Not even once.
I thought you played it.
Nope.
I know you were interested in it before, like it came out, but
aesthetically,
you just never touched it. So, well, if you're a return, there's a lot of stuff to experience. But yeah, overall though, I'm obviously really excited for season 4. There's a lot of question marks still too for something that's coming out so soon, which is really interesting. But I kind of like that. There's enough things that we saw here that I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool, really cool. What is that? And so, yeah, I can't wait to play it soon. But really curious to see how they handle it this season. I think season 3 started really strong and ended kind of meh. And so they got a lot to make up for in season 4. Wasn't a bad season, but, And I really am curious to see the things that they're changing and how it's going to change the meta of the game. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what do you guys think about what we saw here. Do you have any information about what's coming that I didn't mention? There's a lot of little things that I was reminded of while watching through that. And if you play the finals, what do you think of it? If you've played the finals, what do you think of it? And if you haven't played the finals, why don't you play the finals? And what shooter are you playing right now? What's your first-person shooter of choice? Let me know everything you think about in the comments below. All right, speaking of shooters, this one is going to be more relevant for both of us. This is Remnant 2 DLC and new mode release date trailer. This came out like 8 days ago. We've been sitting on it for a little bit. We haven't watched it. I I did find out one thing about this DLC though that hopefully they bring up in here, but I want to talk about. And after this, we have a Warden archetype trailer to watch as well, which is the new archetype for Remnant 2. Every time they have a DLC, they have a new archetype. So, we've both played Remnant 2. We've both beat it. We both have beat both DLCs. We both are big fans of Remnant 2. I think we both graded it high.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're both anticipating this, which is coming out this month. So, soon. We'll have more reason to play Remnant 2. Do you have anything you want to say before we watch this?
This earlier in the video mentioned that there was something we were going to be watching that I've held off on. This is what I was referring to. If I had to speculate at all, I assume this is going to be on the deserted moon-esque map. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now.
I can't either, and I just saw the name earlier.
Yeah, because the other two are in the other two zones. So, curious to see what they do with it, because outside of some of the parts of it, it's probably my least favorite of the maps, which kind of sucks that they're ending on this one. But if they can make it interesting, then I'm here.
Gives them a chance to make it cool. So,
yeah, because otherwise, the last DLC's map, though, had a lot of recycle stuff in it. I love that map.
There was a lot of really cool puzzle platformer type stuff in that one that I really appreciated.
Yeah, and then the one before that was the city, and it was very much like a crafted is what I wanted experience for that.
Yeah,
and,
it definitely felt more hands-on,
and it felt probably the most unique out of the new stuff they made so far. So
yeah. Even though I think the end boss of DLC 2 is better than the actual end boss of...
Oh, I agree with that.
It was just a cooler spectacle.
Yeah.
Felt like a good finale. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't know anything about this. So
yeah. I know a little bit, but I haven't watched this. But I've seen tidbits on X. So let's watch it, and we'll talk about it. This is Remnant 2 DLC, a new mode release date trailer. In 3, 2, 1, go. Yep. Yeah, it's coming out. This is coming out for everybody.
That might be rough.
Yeah, actually, read about this a little bit.
Boss, I didn't get a chance to fight him.
You will now.
Bombed me right after that. He had the solar thing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, well, that sucked. That boss was. Oh no! I didn't take into consideration the last boss.
Yep.
Oh, that is already better looking. Was that a hit?
Yep.
Bastards.
Yeah, and bring up the new feature that I heard about.
Interesting.
Okay, so Warden revealed. Warden has a drone. We'll go into the details on that in a sec. We have a video for that.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, you didn't see that?
I was too busy looking at the map. I didn't even look at the character at all. So
yeah. That's the new archetype armor.
I still want to try the one from the we unlocked it, but I haven't played it yet, and that one really was kind of honestly, all three of the new classes or archetypes, whatever they are, have been pretty unique. So
yeah, I don't know much about this. It's been hard to dodge things about it on my algorithm, but I haven't watched the video on it, so we'll get a breakdown on that in a sec. But we have a boss rush mode. From what I've gathered, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I've only barely heard about this, but it's a boss rush mode. One of them is, I think, 3 bosses. Another one's like 7 bosses in a row, and then one's 19, I think.
What the fuck?
And you have to fight enemies in between the bosses, like a horde mode.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And the bosses have the ability to drop any gear that boss can drop.
Okay.
So they said it's a good way to farm gear,
yeah.
and you don't have to play through the story if you don't want to, or the adventure mode. So yeah, some of the ones with like specific stipulations, they have a chance to drop that.
Okay.
And then also, and I don't think they're going to show in the next video, but I guess we'll find out. There is a new, I can't remember the name of it, Prism? Rune? I think it's Prism. There's a new Prism system coming out that, you know that guy over by the dock behind the shooting range? The guy who sells the
gem dude, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude is going to start, I think you can buy one and then you have to find them in drops, but they're prisms, and when you have a prism, it's a random stat, and you can keep upgrading that to get minor stat increases on all things.
Okay.
And it's basically sounds like it's something you're going to be able to just grind boss rush and keep getting stronger and stronger.
Badass points, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine, because I know...
I'm also hoping they increase the amount of trait points.
Again?
Because they did that already in the DLCs, and in the original game, there was no cap.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting in DLC 3 if they just uncapped it.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure, though I've never capped.
I've capped each time now.
Yeah.
And it's so devastating. Every time I'm like, no. Trait points don't matter anymore.
Yeah. Interesting. The boss rush mode kind of scares me, because some of the bosses are really annoying.
Yeah. But it gives you something to just kind of grind at.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just like, especially because they're showing this guy, I was like, God, that guy like one-shot me.
Mm-hmm.
And then
but with that prism system,
that's true.
Yeah, you're gonna come in and one-shot them.
And then it blipped. I think it showed the last boss for a second. I was like, oh, I forgot that could be a possibility.
That would there. Yeah.
Oh, that fight.
That boss fucking
that
sucks.
Fight sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a chance to get him, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll be playing it, so.
Oh, 100%. I fucking can't wait. Yeah, I think it's smart. It sounds like, even though I would love for them to pull a Borderlands 2 and go beyond their original plan of DLC support and add 3 more, that'd be fucking awesome.
I'd also be okay if they just started working on the next one.
Yeah, both's fine. Just as long as they're doing something with Remnant, I'll be happy. But if they want to support this game, I will buy whatever they release for it. But if they want to start working on Remnant 3, I'd also be very happy with that, because Remnant 2, I think, is how you do a sequel. It's the first game, but better in every way. But yeah, I'm just really happy to see how they've supported it. This does feel like a send-off with the boss rush at the end. Just going like, here's something you can grind at.
Also, everyone gets that, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is really cool. And then, of course, the new location and the archetype you're gonna have to pay for, but that's fair. They're putting a lot of work into this game still. Like the DLCs, even though 2 had some repeated areas, they have all new things, all new weapons, new armors, new bosses to fight. It's definitely worth it. So
for sure.
I already bought the season pass, so I'm gonna get them anyway. So yeah, let's watch the Warden real quick and find out what this guy even does. This is the Remnant 2 Warden archetype reveal trailer. Were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say I'm sure it'll be interesting. So
yeah, they did a really good job with all their archetypes. So
and especially the new ones. So
yeah, and you get to mix archetypes. You can have 2 at once and kind of get things from both of their.
About to do drone plus dog.
You could, or drone with minions or all sorts of shit.
The minions are kind of annoying.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them.
This is getting in the way a lot.
All right, this is Warden archetype reveal trailer in 3, 2, 1, go. Be nice to know what this guy actually does.
In Remnant 2, bringing the right tool for the job is often the difference between life and death. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games. Introducing the Warden. When it comes to enhancing any playstyle, the Warden has you covered, literally.
The
They're
drone's
the
cool, too.
master of shields, and their perks are designed around keeping
Look at that
survivors alive. Their prime perk, Dynamic, even allows them to automatically regenerate shield. But we're just getting started. Where the Warden truly shines is through the use of their secret weapon, the drone. Each Warden skill is a unique, fully automated drone that chaperones an ally and provides two functions.
So there's
The primary function performs its selected routine at the cost of energy. If it runs out, it goes dormant until it's replenished itself. The secondary function is always active, even if the drone doesn't have any energy available. Choosing the right variant is key to a powerful Warden build. Their first option is the shielding drone. While energized, the drone will constantly grant shield to the selected ally until they're at 100%. Passively, it will reduce
from the
all
space
incoming
game.
damage by a small amount. A great choice for defensive, support, or active shield builds. Their second option is the healing drone. When the drone has energy, it constantly heals an ally until their health is full.
Those are huge
Passively,
heal chunks.
it grants a
Holy crap.
relic use speed buff. If the goal is to keep yourself or an ally topped off while boosting relic functionality, then the healing drone is perfect.
It's true, you wouldn't have to have
Their
those
third
crazy
option is the
heal.
combat drone. Designed to be a constant offensive presence, an energized combat drone attacks any threat near the selected ally. Passively, the combat drone provides a constant speed boost for both firearms and melee. When it's time to go all out, accept no substitute.
That's just a great.
Rounding out their kit is the archetype trait, Barrier. It increases the effectiveness of shields the Warden applies, which means that even when applying protection to an ally, they will also gain a benefit. When making a shield build, Barrier is a must. Players looking for a versatile addition to any build will absolutely love the Warden. Whether you like offense, defense, or anything in between, the Warden's got you and your allies covered. The cavalry has arrived.
True. So basically, it just sounds like a really good addition to any support build.
Well, I was gonna say it sounds like a really good second class because it can go with anything. It does attack. It does support.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was just going for like big DPS numbers, though, I don't think I would use it. But I think if you were like rocking the dog or the medic or any of the more supportive classes, or even if you're making like a tank build or something for survivability, I think it's a really good augment of options to give you versatility and basically keeping people alive. It does have a combat mode, but that doesn't. It sounds pretty decent, but it sounds like its bread and butter is more in healing and shields.
Well, yeah, and like having played I can't remember what it's called. It's the one you get for beating the game, the base game. But that one has puddles you can get, but you're not guaranteed to get a heal out of that.
Yep.
But that heal, like that drone's heal was like huge chunks at a time, which is kind of crazy because the game's pretty consistent about like trickle healing you, so you still are in danger while you're healing. So
yeah, I was thinking like if you played anyone who had a heal or any kind of support at all and had this as well, just give you more buffs to give.
yeah, though I think I'd be pretty interested in playing shield version of that because I don't think shields are really a thing outside of that. So, so it's an interesting thing to play around with, especially since they added a whole passive for it.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, it sounds cool. I think the DLC archetypes we've seen so far have all been really. It seems like they've designed them all to just work with most things, which I think is interesting because you can pretty much say it with all the archetypes, but a lot of the base archetypes are like very much like, you got a DPS one, you got a long range guy, you got a tank, and there's a lot of diversity there. You can choose different things and you can mix and match, but so many of these feel like, this is based off support. The other one was based off of like cooldowns and abilities. and then the one before that was status effects. And so these things are really good to attach onto something you're already using to just enhance it even further. It would be interesting to see some of the new 3 archetypes merged together to see what you could get. Although I feel like you would get much more out of using the original archetypes with any of these archetypes, because they all seem to, like I said, enhance things more. So I think it sounds really cool. I don't know. I mean, I'll play it and level up and get it all knocked out. But this one, compared to the other 2, is less of my alley because I'm not really a support player.
Yeah.
But the drone does sound cool. I liked having a drone in like the Division 2 and stuff. So it sounds cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little curious because my first class I played was the dog class.
Yep.
And I'd be curious to see how running the dog and the bot would go, because at that point I could have, 2 heals, but I could also just do shields and heals at that point.
Well, and you're somebody who typically is not up front in combat scenarios anyway. So, like, if you're in the back, you can send your dog out to get people back up. I think the dog does a heal, right? The howl?
The howl, yeah.
Yeah. And then having that drone, you can also send out. You can kind of play healer like in an MMO.
Yeah.
And just be sending things out to do things in certain situations. So that's pretty interesting. But then again, also it augments really well with even a combat build, like if you're just doing DPS or long range, because then you can send something out to help people, or like use it on yourself to increase your fire rate and, you know, enhance your shields. Like I said, if you're playing like I forgot what it's called, Enforcer, the tanky dude.
I'm bad with the
You
names.
can like stomp and shit. It's been a little bit, but that would be really interesting to use with that as well, because he's already kind of designed to. He has a move where he can get back up and like. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that would work with it. So
I think it also caters to anyone who maybe doesn't want to think too much too, because the combat mode is just a drone.
yeah,
So,
what at base minimum you would want from it
Yeah.
is just help shoot shit, but also buffs you.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you really wanted to kind of go that route, you could do like the summon build with the drone in combat mode or whatever, and just have things fighting for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's amazing how many archetypes in the game allow you to be, I mean, you're not hands off, but like you can really just kind of send shit out.
well, especially how much damage you take in this game, that it'd be really hard to just AFK it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
because like, you know, I brought up earlier that one boss, when we went in to fight it, he went bonk and I just died. I was like,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the bosses can be fucking rough.
Yeah. Well, and like, you know, I don't have as much trade
It's
points,
crazy looking.
you know, as you do.
Yeah.
And my level is not as high, so I just was not as survivable.
Yeah.
So I had to be on top of my dodges, and that just didn't happen because I didn't know the fight yet. So
Well, it's like that one guy we fought that just stabbed you through and killed you instantly.
yeah.
And then the second time we went in there, he did it instantly when we came in. You, not me. He just
Yeah.
murdered you. I was like, I guess I'm fighting this guy.
Yeah, I got bad luck with the bosses.
Yeah. That one wasn't even a trade point thing. That was just like he has an instant
He
kill
has
move.
a move for it.
And he got you the first time when we learned about it. And the second time, he just decided to do it on you. Like right
instantly.
when the fucking fight started. I was like, okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, overall, new game modes sound fucking awesome to me. Or game mode sounds awesome to me, even though they didn't touch on the Prism thing. I read about that. I'm pretty sure it's real. I've seen pictures of it. So, and then the archetype sounds like a great addition. Part of me really hopes this isn't the end of the support for the game, but as we discussed, if they're working on the next game, I'll be happy with that as well. But, you know, kind of bittersweet, but you know, I'm excited to play this. So it looks fucking awesome. The locations seem interesting, way more interesting than the base world. I really like that armor. I think it looks awesome. I think the drone looks cool. I think what it does sounds really interesting. I'll be really curious to see how it meshes with things. And I can't wait to play this.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think we've kind of gushed enough.
Yep. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about all the things they're adding to Remnant 2? What do you think about this DLC? What do you think about the features they're adding, the boss rush? What do you think about the Warden archetype? Have you played Remnant 2? What do you think about Remnant 2?
You should play it.
If you haven't played it, I'm not gonna ask you why you haven't played it. Just play it. You should play it. It's good. Get on sale if you can. Like it's fucking worth it. It's so worth it. There's a lot of game there. And it's awesome. And yeah, let me know what you think about in the comments below when it comes to Remnant 2, and what do you hope for in the future of Remnant? Do you want more Remnant 2 content, or do you want a sequel? Let me know what you think about in the comments below. Next video is InZOI first preview, beautiful and full of potential, but still a bit hollow. Well, that's a little bit of a spoiler. InZOI apparently is like a Sims-like South Korean game that I've seen a little bit on, but I haven't really seen gameplay or heard anything about it. I've just seen pictures.
I don't think there's really like a competitor to The Sims. So
sure, and that's why I think it's interesting they're making one, because I think there should be. There's a lot of people like The Sims. And people who don't even play video games like The Sims. Like there's a whole, it's like kind of like Animal Crossing. Like there's competitors now, but not really. But you see a game like that, it's like, why isn't anybody else doing anything like that?
Yeah.
But anyway, people have gotten a chance to play this. I think at Gamescom, people played it.
They also did because if it's the game I'm thinking of, I think there was a small beta as well that people got to participate in.
Yeah, and so this one's via IGN. They're going to talk about their thoughts on the trying the game out, and I'm going to learn basically what this game's even bringing to the table, because all I know so far is it has a very good character editor and really good graphics, which, The Sims has a cartoony visual style. This game definitely, I think, is going for a more, like a lot of South Korean games, just realistic.
And apparently China as well now.
Yeah.
They both kind of have that going.
Yeah, well, I think they're both trying to, as places producing games now, trying to prove their ability to create a AAA game.
Well, I'll say they're definitely hyper-focused on like fidelity,
just like high-end graphics. I think they're really just trying to prove themselves, just like CD Projekt Red in Poland. People are there going like, we can make AAA games too.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing like a lot of like hyper-realistic looking games coming out of like South Korea and China. It's pretty crazy. So I don't think either of us really know much about this, though.
I think I've seen a screenshot or two, but that's the extent of it. And then when you started explaining it, I had heard a little bit about it, but nothing of substance. So
yeah, well, let's watch it, let's learn about it, and then we'll talk about it. This is InZOI first preview. 3, 2, 1, go.
In InZOI, Krafton's ambitious all-in-one life simulator, you aren't a god, but rather an omnipotent office worker performing HR for miniature worlds under the tutelage of an adorable cat overlord. In addition to managing the needs and relationships of customizable avatars called Zois, you'll also be able to build a metropolis with bespoke homes, businesses, and public parks, too. On top of that,
crazy
a slew of complications like citywide
really
mood sliders, weather conditions, and the
really
potential for wild animals juice up your all-seeing agenda, leading to a sumptuous situation full of Moorish chaos. It's a gorgeous, formidable, system-filled world that, as of right now, still feels a little hollow.
Okay. Yeah, first off, though, the graphics are fucking no joke.
Deep end on our first day on the job, InZOI ushered us in with a slick, hyper-realistic character studio that, if time permitted, could have easily swallowed the entire preview session. There was plenty of pushing and pulling as we warped our avatar's facial symmetry with incredible freedom. Like a kid making a beautiful monster out of Play-Doh. Soon enough, any sincere attempts to create a stylish virtual self-portrait disappeared as we stumbled onto all of the ZOI presets crafted by other creators. Nightmare fuel recreations of cultural icons like Shrek and Handsome Squidward. You'll choose the character's gender expression, age range, and personality traits before getting stuck into InZOI's holistic anatomical putty parlor, with each fine-tuned detail contributing to your Zoi's genetic makeup.
I just want to play the cat.
InZOI's fashion suite is also a tour de force of customizable streetwear and abundant accessories. Here, we could pick a cute top or skirt and adjust its length and color using a rainbow palette, recreating our favorite archival fashion aesthetics like McBling and indie sleeves with ease. And we were pleased to see that InZOI's sizable wardrobe is not only refreshingly modern, but mostly androgynous too. There is an unfortunate elephant in the room though, and that's InZOI's integration of generative AI. Players can upload a custom design to apply to their avatar's clothing or toy with the plentiful built-in settings. However, a separate button opens up a prompt box where you can input word salad and receive a synthographic digital pattern based on your request. While it's not all that surprising to see, given current technological trends, it does put a damper on what we feel is a compelling and inspiring character creator. It would cultivate a better community for InZOI if everyone were compelled to flex their unique visions, design skills, and cultural milieu
you're gonna see more of that.
Cool textures for other players to use rather than allowing the machine to speedrun creativity for them.
It does kind of give me, without obviously all the hyperviolence and stuff, it does kind of give me GTA vibes. Once we completed
my household, we were thrust into InZOI's soul-inspired city, Dawan, ready for our digital character to embed themselves in this impeccably dressed world. Unfortunately, it was here that we could start seeing the seams of this ambitious project. InZOI's open world is enormous, but feels very early. It's chock full of intersecting people, places, and activities, but despite having so much to do, a haunting emptiness persists in the background, one that needs remedying before the game's full release. Starting in InZOI's brand new apartment, they pottered around their gorgeous digs, cooking a frittata and chatting with their roommate. Communication in InZOI is divided between love, friendship, and business. And as soon as you start to talk, you can cycle through the different categories, prodding the relationships in your desired direction. Throughout, the Zois bantered in a Simlish adjacent style of speech that was made especially for the game. It's a convincing package of interactions at first glance, even if the movement sometimes feels abrupt and goofy between activities. The physicality of a Zoi's animation often makes up for this.
Your Pokemon look like ours.
I was enamored by how they acted when performing specific tasks, like
your
cooking.
Zois look like our Zois.
As my Zoi meandered around the house, they took a few selfies before spending a lengthy amount of time on the toilet. Perhaps that frittata was a mistake. Either way, it was time to take my Zoi on the road.
I don't know what the fuck
we
that
left
was.
the apartment.
Is that real or is that game?
In the open world, our Zoi could walk the length and breadth of the city with barely any barriers. And as City Overlord, we could also instantly tinker with the environment settings, turning the pristine and sunny landscape into a post-apocalyptic nightmare with just a few clicks.
Man, the
even with the occasional bout of texture pop-in, we were thoroughly impressed by how free we were to mold Dawan and torment the people of my world, and how intuitive it felt to do so. To balance out the complete freedom you're given, friction in InZOI stems from the karma system, which tallies your Zoi's actions and punishes them when they do bad things. Performing a social faux pas like littering or theft could cause your social standing to drop, with other Zois starting rumors about your misdeeds. We also secretly farted next to another Zoi, which almost definitely made an impact too. Much of InZOI feels borderless and determined to get out of your way, so it's great to see explicit boundaries to consider, even if the specifics of these systems are still a mystery to us.
That's very Sims-like.
With my time running out, we dove into the build mode, filling our Zoi space with indiscriminate assets. Cycling through a collection of menus, we could easily shift the position of doors, build new walls, and add pre-made furniture. You can also modify the open world environment in a similar fashion as well. Through this system, you can tweak almost every detail of a piece of furniture too, from the wood type to how glossy you want it to be, or if you wish, upload one of the aforementioned custom textures instead. It feels like an excellent foundation for criteria-based building challenges, and we'd love to try outfitting a low-budget or tiny square-foot home with the available mechanics. InZOI's world is extremely beautiful, but somewhat empty in motion, permeated by a lack of grounding lore. It can sometimes feel like a playable version of a high-end real estate render or a picture-perfect Pinterest board. It does paw toward a playful narrative with its cat mascot and AR company framework. Still, it doesn't transfer that same magical realist charm to its more minor interactions to imbue them with a sense of meaning or humor. But we're still a while off the full game, and I'm hopeful it can carve out a chaotic
a lot of those things
corner for itself in this ever-fascinating and difficult genre.
It already seems like they got like the hard part fucking
for
done.
Innovation, which InZOI plans to evolve. For more on InZOI, don't miss our recent exclusive gameplay trailer, as well as the Gamescom trailer. And for everything else...
All right. What do we think?
I'm honestly, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I'd be invested in it, but I'm definitely like super curious to try it because I enjoy The Sims enough, not enough to like play it all the time. It's definitely something I play for like 2-3 days and I'm just kind of done. But
yeah, I haven't played whatever the newest Sims is, but I played 1, 2. I think I played a little bit of 3.
yeah,
But all I ever wanted to do was build houses. That was always fun, and then obviously test the boundaries of social interactions and lock people in houses and do things that everyone does. But yeah, so I found The Sims fun. I don't know if I would play The Sims nowadays unless they evolved it enough, but because like virtual social interaction isn't as interesting as it was when Sims came out, that you could even experience a second life basically.
Yeah.
But I do think it's good that they have competition. Someone can bring ideas that The Sims isn't fucking bringing to the table. But,
well, and the other thing that I was looking at this too is they were talking about like that karma system where like you could, commit theft and stuff like that, and then like there's like actual like potential repercussions and whatnot to your reputation. So if you make like not that it is a small town, but you could have like that small town vibe thing where like everyone knows who the hell your guy is because of some stupid decisions he made and stuff like that. So I don't know, I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm not like going to be rushing out to get this, but I'm definitely going to be paying attention to it now.
Well, I'm curious if it's just single player, if there's going to be a multiplayer component to it.
My next question was going to be, does it have co-op or multiplayer in general? Because
or if it's going to be an online game.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'd be as in love with that, though I think a lot of people would be.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like that a lot. I think I would prefer a more like premium single player with a multiplayer option type game.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you could like run a server or something like that.
Yeah.
Because then you can control who's going to be in there. Because I'm not trying to get in some room with a bunch of like people trying to RP and stuff like that. I'm not like that's not my style. But otherwise all the details and stuff like that are super impressive. I like that you can just like make designs and stuff like that. I don't really care about the AI thing. I'm just not going to use it really. So,
I'd prefer them not have it, but I'm not surprised that they're going to do it, and I'm not going to penalize them for it just because everybody's going to get what they can get out of AI.
Yeah, it's an inevitability.
And I'd prefer people be able to create their own assets through their own creativity, but for people, this isn't me, this isn't my opinion, but for people who are not creative types, I understand why you would want to offer them a design for dummies option where you can just go, I want puppies, and it goes, here you go, here's a puppy. You're like, oh, I don't like that one. Then you generate another one. It's like, oh, I like that one.
I do kind of agree with I hate I'm even going to say I'm agreeing with someone on IGN, but I am going to agree with what they had said about the it is kind of a bummer because you could build a community out of like the customization aspect of the game,
just like Forza Horizon
or Final Fantasy 14, the glam and community in 14 is massive. And it's just matching stuff together. Like this game lets you create things.
Well, that's what I was bringing up. Horizon and all the Forza games is they've been very good about having downloadable designs that other players have made. Mm-hmm. And so it creates a whole community of people designing things, trading things, and that's always a lot of fun. And other games have done it, of course, too, but that's the first one that comes to my mind. And so, yeah, I do agree with them. It would be cool if they put more work into that, and they might still, but I don't think they'll be getting rid of the AI option.
No, it's already integrated.
It's already in there, and it's super simple. You just go, I want this, and then it starts generating shit for you. But my phone more and more is just like, you want me to do things for you? I'm like, no.
Yeah, even when I go on Twitter, all the Samsung ads are all about AI.
Yeah. Yeah, a new update just came out, and it's like, you can do all these other things now to generate things and all sorts of shit. I'm like, stop changing. There's a lot of like editing tools I use from my phone that I fucking love with like the old Notes, and now just the Ultra has that. But they changed some of those to incorporate more AI and less of like what I want out of it, like hands-on shit. And I'm like, stop doing that.
Been my complaint forever with every iteration of Windows. They keep adding quote unquote convenience features, and I'm like, I want the control. I don't want it given to you.
Yeah, it's just like, now just ask AI to do this. I'm like, yeah, but the AI is doing it fucking wrong, and I wasn't. So like, give me the ability to do it, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to have its place in certain ways, but I do think the hyper focus of it in the tech sector right now is incredibly obnoxious. And I know I'm not the only one, because I've even heard advertising firms come out and tell these companies that using AI as an advertising board has actually been
negative.
It's been a negative and not a benefit.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm sure that blew their minds. And it's like a lot of people are not super stoked on it, like especially like how you implement it in ways that is taking away from people being able to do things.
I think also just coming off the tail. Well, this is a whole tangent now, but coming off the tail of like NFTs and stuff like that, and people just like seeing what the tech industry, or how the tech industry aggressively went for that too. A lot of these things I honestly feel would be more successful if they would just shut up.
Sure.
Just make it. And if people use it, you can kind of explain it a little more from there. But like AI stuff's going to happen. And I can picture uses for it that I would want to use it for. I use it sometimes, but the biggest use I use AI for right now is recipes, because I'm sure anyone who's looked up a recipe clicks on a link and you get a blog, and I don't give a shit about your grandmother's trip to whatever country they lived in and developed this recipe that was passed down to you, and you're like, save it. Like, how long do I put the damn chicken in the oven for?
Yeah, and that's not going anywhere either, because they want you to scroll through a website with ads.
Right.
So.
But I can go on the chat GPT and be like, how long to cook, 1 pound, piece of chicken or whatever, and it'll just bullet point it. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Done deal. So it has its uses for sure. I don't want it drawing for me personally, though. I would rather, I'm the type of person I'd rather just pay someone, commission someone to draw me a picture than to have AI do it. So
yeah.
But not everyone feels the same way. You don't have to. It's fine. It's not I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. Just sharing opinions. So.
Yeah.
But the game itself, it looks interesting. So I will be keeping my eyes on it.
Yeah, same. We already expressed a lot about it already, but I do think it's good and healthy for The Sims to have a competitor. This does feel like a direct competitor. It feels like it was created because The Sims exists and they want to go against it. Not in like a take it out way, but like they obviously are heavily inspired by a lot of things that The Sims offers, and they're trying to offer as well. The graphics are really fucking good. Like,
the character models are
it's not even like, well, it looks pretty good. It's like, that's really good looking. Like, specifically the character models, they're insane looking. This looks like Unreal Engine 5 like character creation, like on that one website where you can just make like fake people and implement or pull them into your games and stuff. It looks like that. The world looks good. You can definitely tell they didn't put the same amount of work into that engine as the character engine that they got going here. But it's also nothing to like scoff at because it looks good, a little flat and shiny everywhere, but the lighting is really good looking. You could just say like, nowadays everything just has ray tracing, so it's easier to do, but like a lot of games, I'm still not saying much about their lighting. And this, I noticed like when they put the lights in the kitchen, the soft lighting on the walls changed completely. When they opened a window and they hit the wall and then it kind of faded down, I was like, no, the lighting's really fucking good in this game for sure. Animations are also like obviously directly mocapped and inserted into the game, which makes everyone look alive. I am curious to know what you'll be doing in the game. Like obviously they alluded to it a bit in terms of like social interactions, business relationships, which implies you'll be working, which makes sense. Like in The Sims, you work, or you go down different career paths. And then it'll have a morality system or karma, where the hell that was, where you can like, fart or rob people or wherever the hell. So everybody will have different stories and playing different characters, which will be fun.
They also have every age demographic here because they had babies all the way to the elderly.
Yeah, so you can make kids, which makes sense in The Sims. You can have a family and stuff, so it makes sense. And yeah, I feel like I need to see more in terms of like what I'd like to see a gameplay overview. But outside of that, I am very intrigued with what they're doing here because this isn't a genre in gaming that's like got a whole lot of games in it. True. And so like I said, I think it's healthy for there to be competition for that. But also, The Sims is established. They got multiple games. They've done a lot of shit with those games, a lot of DLCs. And so like to come out and try to make a game like that, you got to kind of bring it. And at the very least, this game will catch your attention with the graphics alone. They're definitely going for a more realistic look, and it looks great. But, what kind of features it's going to offer? That's what I'm curious about. I mean, here we're seeing someone obviously working at a store.
I'll say they're doing convenience store work.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see what they offer with it. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm curious about the multiplayer component because I think the newer Sims has multiplayer in them. So I feel like these guys are going to have to, especially for a South Korean company. Like so many MMOs come out of South Korea. So
yeah.
I would be surprised if there was no like actual social systems in the game for your friends to at least come check out your house or something. So, but we'll see. They didn't really touch on that, so I don't know. But if they're still working on this game and they got plenty of things to work towards, the foundation looks completely solid. So it's a really good start. And I'm definitely intrigued. So, anything else?
Nope.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about InZOI. What were some of the bigger highlights that you noticed in this preview? What are some features that you would hope for in this? And how do you think this is going to fare in terms of competing with The Sims? Do you play The Sims? What do you think about The Sims? And what would you like to see from any game in that genre? Let me know in the comments below. Last video we got, I believe it was another South Korean company. Do I have all these videos playing right now? That can't be good for RAM. Crimson Desert, which is their offshoot of Black Desert, which is supposed to be a single-player action-adventure game. This is another IGN video talking about their impressions of what they played at, I believe, Gamescom or some event where they played Crimson Desert. This is Crimson Desert echoes Zelda and Assassin's Creed with its action-packed open world. This is a game that I've been curious about for a while, just because Black Desert, when it came out, was another game that was impressive looking graphically, had a lot of systems that are interesting. Combat was fluid and animations were good. I say were because the game now is getting older, so it's not as impressive anymore, but still definitely is impressive. But I'm curious about what they're going to do with a single-player game, because even though Black Desert is impressive in a lot of ways, every time I play it, I can't get into it. It feels almost robotic as a game. It feels like there's just a lot of menus and a lot of systems, a lot of automated things happening that you can choose to do, and why wouldn't you if you can? It never really hooked me. But if you can get a more focused, story-centric action adventure game in that same universe with the same expectations of graphics and good combat stuff, that's intriguing to me. And also I'd like to see something come out of South Korea that, you know, could possibly be in the conversation with something like The Witcher 3. That's interesting. We haven't really seen that. We've only seen, you know, recently Stellar Blade enter the chat when it comes to single player AAA action games. I mean, South Korea's been making games for a long time, but most of them have been MMOs.
Online experiences. Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to see a lot of these devs branching out and trying to, you know, get in on other genres that exist. So
yeah, for sure.
And with a lot of games and devs right now kind of stagnating in what they're offering, it's good for competition, just like InZOI, good for competition. I, you know, want them to bring it, so other people have to.
I'm hoping the best thing that we're going to see with, like, specifically to bring up Asian, the Asian market expanding their reach outside of, you know, their own countries and stuff like that. I mean, obviously Japan's been a player in the space for a long time, but South Korea putting a push on making more like AAA titles to produce for the world, and China doing the same. I'm hoping that just lights that creativity fire under people's butts to, like, you know, get inspired and do things as well. It's good for everybody. So
they're going to have to, because South Korean games and Chinese games are being, and Japanese games for the most part, are being celebrated right now.
Yeah.
And like Ubisoft and a lot of Western devs, they're like wondering why they're underperforming right now. And a lot of games this year have failed completely, which is fucking, like 5 of them. And so they are going to have to adapt or die, basically. And I would hate to see that happen for devs to just die because other people are doing better than them now. But
don't want that.
I would hope that with all these devs from, you know, I guess Asia, bringing something to the table that is getting people excited again, that they would choose to become competitive with them and try to outdo them.
Ideal.
Yeah, it'd be great for everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, not all of Europe, obviously, because there are good studios like, you know, obviously like CD Projekt Red and stuff like that. But a lot of the bigger ones, like your Ubisoft and then like your American companies, EA, etc. Everyone just kind of looks at them and sighs every time at this point. So, like, there used to be a time I was excited for an Ubisoft game or an EA game. Like, I remember Sega Genesis, like, the EA had, like, the very specific cartridges, and they had, like, really cool games, and like, it was an exciting thing. And now I'm just like, all right, what abomination are you creating now? Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate, and I don't want to feel that way. So, because those are the companies who have money to make crazy experiences, and they haven't been. So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like they don't have an excuse when they don't deliver, because smaller companies are delivering and unproven companies are delivering. And it's like, you have all the resources in the world. What could you even say that excuses not being able to deliver a game that people just absolutely fucking love? You have more resources than anybody. Yeah. You have a longer track record. You have a bunch of money. Like, it's fucking crazy.
And the ability to, even at the very least, like, you know, in a obviously a business sense, buy the talent as well. Like, if you're missing something, it's easier for you to find them than a studio with 10 people over here. Like, so, yeah, it's an interesting time in gaming right now for sure.
Oh, it's very interesting, 'cause it's not like 2008 where we just shifted from AAA to indie because of the affordability aspect of it and the ideas there. It's like
just everything being a sequel constantly at the time.
Yeah, we're in a really weird place where, like, it's not even just like AAA and indie. There's like a lot of different layers, a lot of different people leaving big AAA companies to make like AA companies.
When even companies that like are known for AAA games talking about not really making AAA anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah, or like shrinking down the scale of games and the time it takes to make them, which I think would probably be beneficial for them, especially when Helldivers 2 first came out. It was a really good argument of like, this team's smaller than most of your teams, and they made something that's like none of you can even fucking touch.
Yeah.
So, and then of course with indie games, like, that's where the passion and ideas are at. So Yeah, so it's a really interesting time in gaming right now, and I kind of like seeing AAA having their feet held to the fire, basically, and not necessarily in a way that they need to be punished and destroyed, but some humility.
Jobs are at stake.
Sure,
which sucks. So.
Some humility would go a long way. I mean, we're hearing with Battlefield, like I said at the beginning of the episode, they're doing a hard reset, which is good to hear because what you were doing was not working.
The most annoying. Sorry, this episode's full of tangents.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing is like EA does produce stuff that people like all the time, but it's never their flagships.
Well, and they don't continue it.
Well, like the people or the guy who makes those co-op games, A Way Out and It Takes Two, like those are celebrated when they come out.
Yep.
And that's EA money.
Dead Space was celebrated.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're not making another one.
Yeah, it's such weird decisions, man. Like,
or they make Dragon Age Origins and then they decide their games aren't going to be like that anymore, even though people liked it.
Well, and then like Baldur's Gate 3 exists.
Yep.
And surprise, surprise, people love that game. So that genre doesn't have to be dead. You just have to make a good game. So, anyways.
So with all that being said, do you have any thoughts on Crimson Desert? Do you even remember it from before? This is a game that every time I bring it up, you're like, I don't know if I remember that.
I like have a vague recollection. It's so infrequent that I see anything on it. It's kind of hard to keep it in my head. But
when they release stuff for this game, they release like a lot, and then there's like a long wait.
Yeah.
Because the last time there was like a bunch of Crimson Desert stuff coming out, it was like 5 different boss fights in the game. I was like, I don't want to watch 5 of the boss fights in the game. That's like just a big spoiler for me at that point. So it's kind of a weird campaign.
But I mean, yeah, if they can make, you know, it play good and be interesting, I mean, I don't really need a whole lot more out of it. I thought Black Desert was cool, just functionally not my style of MMO, so it was hard to play. So
yeah, I wish I could have gotten that game because I liked it aesthetically, but yeah, it's just like every time I play, it just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel correct in terms of me playing an MMO. I'm like, what is this? Am I micromanaging something? Like, the fuck am I playing?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, this is 12 minutes, so let's watch this and then finish this up because it's already 4 a.m., baby. This is Crimson Desert Echoes Zelda, blah, 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 in 3, 2, 1, and go.
The bosses in Crimson Desert are powerful. I mean really powerful. As the formidable Staglord grabbed me by the ankle and hurled me into a wall, the bone-crunching impact reminded me of how the Stranger's Blows catapulted Kratos through tree trunks and mountains in God of War. This intense, deity-like physicality lends Crimson Desert's battles a sense of genuine spectacle. These are the gladiator battles of myths. Last month, during an hour-long hands-on session at Gamescom 2024, I was able to go toe-to-toe with 3 different bosses, each of which showcased a different side to this fantasy action game's approach to battle. More recently, I was able to watch another hour of gameplay, this time a hands-off demonstration focused on exploration and questing. Together, these demos have given me a good indication of what Crimson Desert is. A game with combat that feels like a mix of God of War and Dragon's Dogma, set in a wider world where what you do is more reminiscent of the modern Assassin's Creeds and The Witcher 3. You play as Cliff, a warrior with a gruff Scottish accent and a no-nonsense attitude. After a prologue establishes a bloody conflict between the Greymanes and the marauding Black Bears, Cliff's major goal is made clear. Explore the continent of Palworld in search of his surviving Greymane allies who have been scattered following the battle.
Die, Greymane!
The bulk of the hands-off demonstration is set in Remnant, a medieval town populated by a fun range of fantasy races that wouldn't look out of place in any Tolkien-esque fantasy story. Cliff's interactions around its very beautifully rendered streets and roads are very much what you'd expect of a modern open-world action-adventure game. There's a horse you can whistle for,
I love that environment.
NPCs to be spoken to, and hostile regions to infiltrate. That last one is where Crimson Desert has a little fun, as the demo shows Cliff changing into Hernandian banquet attire in order to walk past a castle's guards unnoticed.
Oh, wait.
Seems like a permit. No clue where he got it.
We don't look like the troublemaking type.
Right.
I mean, we've made obviously games big.
Much like how you can wear disguises in games like Hitman and Kingdom Come Deliverance. I hope there are plenty of opportunities to do this, and various outcomes to your trickery. It would be fun if you could use disguises to open up new conversations, as well as gain entry into forbidden areas. Inside the castle, Cliff pilfers an Abyss artifact, which is where Crimson Desert gets a little more unusual. The device opens up a pixelated portal in a wall, and walking through it transports Cliff to the Library of Providence. There, an alchemist called Alastin reveals that the library is at the center of all worlds, and that there are beings who plan to bring everything to nothingness.
What is the reason
So is this the Assassin's Creed aspect they're talking about?
There are beings who brought chaos to Providence. The rifts they have created will return everything.
Guys just hang out in his pajamas.
While I can't say I'm impressed by Crimson Desert's writing in this demo, this exchange and several others feel cluttered and wrapped up in themselves. But it does point to a much grander, more mythical plot beyond Cliff's hunt for his allies. That ambition of something larger is made abundantly clear when Alastin's ally, White Crow, gives Cliff the glider-like Crow Wings ability, which allows him to leap off the library's floating island and reenact the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's title sequence.
That's
It's a little bold to use this motif. Can Developer Pearl Abyss really craft something that lives up to the wider meaning of that iconic visual? But even if it falls short, the magnificent view and subsequent glide to Earth is a thrill all the same. Back on the ground in Hernand, a local peacekeeper tasks Cliff with finding and eliminating some local bandits who fight using a red mist. Heading out in search of such villains, Cliff comes across a burning house and throws nearby vases of water to save the clergyman trapped inside. It's not clear from the demo if such objectives organically occur around the map, Red Dead Redemption 2 style, but what is soon clear is that this blaze is the work of those aforementioned bandits. The local church says one of their men, Hubert, fled the scene in an attempt to bait the enemies away, and asks Cliff to find him. The payment is another one of those Abyss artifacts, once again suggesting that the worlds beyond worlds are of vital importance to Crimson Desert's story. I hope this results in a decent amount of weirdness that helps set the largely typical setting apart from other fantasy games.
I can't believe it.
Hubert is found at a bandit camp that allows the demo to show off Cliff's stealth abilities. It's pretty classic stuff and looks very reminiscent of silent takedowns in the Assassin's Creed games. Not particularly challenging, but an alternative option to Crimson Desert's more publicised melee brawls. Hopefully when we go hands-on again, stealth will prove a worthwhile addition rather than a shallow tacked-on extra. With Herbert freed, Cliff is approached by the goblin Shakatu, a merchant of the Gold Leaves Guild. He explains that the Gold Leaves are currently under the command of the evil Splithorn. In return for killing this toxic leader, Shakatu offers money and his services. Things Cliff believes will be helpful in finding the missing Greymanes.
I merely wish us to turn over a new leaf. A return to our former glory.
Arriving at the Goldleaf camp, it quickly becomes clear how all these quests are linked. The Goblin Guards use red mist as part of their battle tactics, and so reveal themselves as the very same miscreants that were causing trouble for the people of Hernand. And so Splithorn's death not only allows Shakatu to take over and help Cliff, but also fulfills the task set by the Peacekeeper back in town. I hope Crimson Desert features plenty more of these overlapping storylines, and forms a wider narrative that feels enjoyably interlaced. That would certainly make up for the uneven quality of the writing shown in the demo.
Damn.
Yeah, that's fucking brutal.
Splithorn acts as the culminating boss fight of the hands-off demo, which brings us to the much more exciting side of Crimson Desert. He's agile and aggressive, wielding a sword that emits blasts of wind in vertical and horizontal patterns, forcing Cliff to dodge and block as he attempts to close the distance. But he's a pipsqueak compared to the brutes I face myself in the hands-on demo at Gamescom. The first of the 3 bosses I clashed with was the Staglord. He's a relentless attacker, charging across the battlefield like a bullet train that can suplex you at its final destination. But despite his endless strength and capacity to throw you like a baseball, he's only human. I forced distance between us, quickly firing explosive arrows to knock him out of his attack pattern and open up a window to bury my blade in his back. The Staglord proves a real challenge of a fight. Crimson Desert is not even remotely as Souls-like, but it's not afraid to make you work really hard for victory. I spend much of the lengthy fight learning the complexities of its combat system. Similar to this year's Dragon's Dogma 2, there's no lock-on, so I have to be mindful of where I position Cliff and where his sword will land. Rolling forward allows me to instantly follow up with a sweep kick that surprises my foe, and then hitting both the light and heavy attack buttons together unleashes a wide, particle effect spraying strike that cleaves a chunk out of the Staglord's health bar. All this is speedy without sacrificing weight. It feels fantastic, but it's also easy to let things run away from you. I soon realise I need to be chowing down on health restoring food with addiction-like frequency. With the Staglord defeated, I take his mighty sword and shield, and the demo skips me ahead in the story, throwing me into snow-coated lands. Here, Cliff is looking for children who have seemingly been sacrificed to some kind of mountain spirit. Such a spirit turns out to be the White Horn, a sort of antlered, abominable snow deer that acts as the first showcase of just how different each of Crimson Desert's bosses can be. This colossal creature moves like a bucking bronco, and its galloping charges cause the mountains around us to break out in miniature avalanches that leave me temporarily frozen in place. Thankfully, after striking it so much that its white fur is stained almost completely red, I'm able to clamber onto its back in the fight's second phase and stab away at its flesh. The moment once again had me recalling my battles with towering monsters in Dragon's Dogma 2 earlier this year. Unlike the little split horn back at the Goblin camp, these much larger bosses have 3 health bars, with each one eliminated increasing the intensity of the fight. But where the Staglord and White Horn scraps seem to escalate much like many other action game boss battles, my final battle against the Queen Stoneback Crab demonstrated Crimson Desert's ambition to create memorable moments through very different mechanics. The Queen Stoneback Crab is colossally big, it fills the screen, and smartly, you can't fight it by just hacking away at its shins. Instead, the battle is a puzzle set piece that's clearly inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. I clamber onto the crab's stony shell and grab onto the grass and flora that forms its fur, holding on for dear life while pulling myself up towards a trio of rock formations. Using a special punch skill, I shatter each of the rocks to expose a weak point that I plunge my blade into. Each open wound causes a geyser of water to blast out, which not only provides a visual spectacle, but also throws me high into the air. From above, I'm able to float down using the Crow Wings ability and plan on how to tackle the next stage. Now I'm tasked with destroying the pottery-like crown at the peak of the crab's mountain-like shell. A task completed by swinging Spider-Man style from a web and colliding with the pottery at full speed. It's all delightfully bonkers. My hour-long session wasn't quite long enough to try all 4 of the bosses the demo had to offer, but a video presentation provided a quick insight into the only one I missed, the Reed Devil, a weird little guy who creates copies of himself that can only be defeated by destroying totems that are built during the battle. Along with the 3 I fought, all 4 bosses make a promise that Crimson Desert features an array of creative, unique centerpiece battles. If they're all like this, then Pearl Abyss could really have something special on its hands. I'm similarly impressed by the combat system's fundamentals. Yes, it's all quite Fantasy 101. Bows, swords, shields, parries, but it's all delightfully aggressive and properly impactful. There's a seemingly deep combo system too, and it's because of that I wish the demo had had a section that was a little more relaxed for me to sample. The heat of a relentless boss battle isn't quite the space to learn and perfect button sequences, but I've got a good feeling you can pull off some cool stuff based on the combos that I did learn. It's a big green light for Crimson Desert's combat then. As for its adventuring chops, things are looking a little more conventional. Pearl Abyss certainly seems to be making a solid enough transition from the MMORPG design of Black Desert Online into single-player territory, but I don't think anything shown in the hands-off demo particularly breaks new ground. Much of it is very familiar if you've played the likes of Assassin's Creed or The Witcher 3. Nonetheless, it does look largely well put together. While I do hope that the Abyss Artifact storyline goes suitably off the wall, I'd like to see the more typical fantasy storylines find suitable hooks to ensure regular gameplay feels more varied and creative than what we've seen so far. With a combat system that shifts from classic sword and board action to slingshotting Spider-Man style round a walking mountain, the questing and exploration side of Crimson Desert ideally also needs to aspire to that kind of diversity. But even if it doesn't, this latest slice of gameplay certainly suggests that the bridges between epic boss battles will be solid, if not the most memorable aspect of the experience. For more from Crimson Desert, check out the entire 52-minute gameplay demo. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
What do we think?
I think it's a good looking game. And they really did a good job on environments. Obviously, I brought that up a couple times. But even like building designs are really good too.
Yeah.
The combat is very flashy looking, and the animations are really good. It seems to be a lot of different variations that can happen, even with just small fights, not just boss fights, which is cool. I do have a concern about how good combat feels, because it does look a little floaty, which could also feel floaty. Impact is something that a lot of people can get wrong pretty easily.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I agree with that as well. The dude doing this video, though, did say that the combat felt really good. So
yeah, but that's one person's opinion.
Well, yeah,
too,
I was gonna say it's all preference, but at least we heard
Yeah.
them even bring that up, which is good to hear. So
Yeah, because it looks great. Otherwise, I just have some reservations due to past experiences with not even just this dev, but even just like a lot of Korean games in general.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Nier Automata, which is a Japanese game, obviously, but like I love that game. Its impacts are a little mess sometimes. So, but yeah, if it's a fun game to play, and it is a decent campaign to go through, I can't imagine not loving it, because it kind of just screams for me. It's a it's a fantasy game. It's got like some like this kind of thing here where you're like going into this portal to go talk to this guy and stuff like that. I don't know. I really dig this kind of stuff. So, so hopefully it's got a decent story and fun gameplay, and it'd be a real easy sell for me. So,
yeah, it's good to hear, because I know over the while this game has been even shown off, you've kind of been like kind of mad about it for a while. So it's good to hear that it's kind of grown on you. You saw something that was impressive enough for you even be interested at all.
Well, and development time's going to help with that.
For sure. One before too was just the concept. We didn't know much about what the gameplay was going to be like. We just knew it looked like Black Desert, and it was going to be a single player game. Even though I remember when this game was first announced, all these people were saying it was going to be a multiplayer game, including official sources. And I was like, they're not talking about that though. So
yeah,
is that real or not? And it's still this fucking day. I'm like, is there going to be a multiplayer component? Because people keep talking about it. But yeah, it's good that it seems interesting to you. I think it looks really good graphically, of course. I think the world design is really good. I love the foliage. Everything moves in the wind, and it just gives a really good atmosphere, which I like. It's definitely got imagination. That weird crow gliding system is interesting. It also seems like they put a lot of work into like cutscenes and dialogue, and hopefully there's like meaningful choices to be made in a game like this, because when you play a game like this, you're going to want to, have your own stories to tell people. So, yeah, especially because a lot of this feels like it could compete with something like The Witcher, but The Witcher offers choices, so hopefully this game will have stuff like that. Combat looks good, but also floaty, like you said, but also kind of stiff in a weird way. It seems like you're locked on and the camera's like floating above, but you're like rotating around the person you're locked onto, and when you attack, you're moving super quick. The animations are really good. The moves look really cool, and it looks like it could be fun, but I would have to get my hands on it to really know, because from what I see, it's like it feels kind of mixed for me on like whether the combat will be good or not. But it was encouraging to hear him mention that it felt good. The stealth segment that he talked about, it does look pretty fucking basic, so hopefully there's a little bit more to it. But because I hate just a simple stealth segment. Like, just don't add it if you're not going to put any work into it. I get you have to make like a whole system for stealth for it to feel better, or good. But if you can't do that, I'd rather just not do it at all than have some lame fucking stealth segment. This scene looks fucking awesome, especially how the grass moves when they step on and stuff. And the fights seem large scale, which is cool. It kind of reminds me of Black Desert, even though obviously the animations and the enemies are a lot better than a bunch of wolves standing in a field while you kill them in an MMO. Boss battles look cool too. super cinematic, which is also nice to see, and super varied, which is really cool. Every boss they showed in this video, all were completely different.
Yeah.
So, that they even have this rock crab thing that you're fighting that has like a whole different mechanic to beat it outside of, just beating this guy's ass until they beat his ass for you. It's cool. Like, you don't know what you're going to get into when it comes to boss fights. So that's exciting. And hopefully plays well with like narratives. Also, it's cool to see that like Yeti thing that he fought, which it reminds me a lot of The Witcher 3, where you're like just on a mission looking for these kids, and then you run into that thing, you have to fight it. Also, the small detail of it just getting bloody and dirty as you fight it gives you a good sense of like kind of like in Monster Hunter, like a progression of the fight. There's visuals indicating that this fight's been going on.
Also makes it easier to see in the snowstorm the longer you fight it.
Sure, yeah. This fight looks cool. Like the game looks like the game looks really fucking solid, and I'm very interested in it. My only hesitation is because of Pearl Abyss before and being really hyped for Black Desert, and then playing it, and it's just not really doing it for me. And then also, getting overly hyped about something that might not live up to that hype. I think it's best to just be like, yeah, it looks fucking awesome. Like, I'll definitely, when we get closer to its release, I'll be paying a lot of attention. It does look like something I would pick up day one, but maybe it comes out and people are like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's kind of like hollow in a lot of ways, doesn't have enough features, or like the story sucks or something. These things could be revealed later after people actually play through and beat it. But from what I'm seeing right now, it does look ambitious. It does look like they're putting a lot of passion and work into it. And I'm definitely interested in playing it. So, yeah. And this was a good video because there's a lot of variety of things they showed. It wasn't like a specific topic. It was just like all the things you kind of learned from playing different things and seeing different things. So I appreciated the perspective from different angles. So, anything else?
No.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this Crimson Desert preview of the game and all its features. What were some of the bigger highlights that you noticed, things that got you excited, maybe things you're worried about, and what are you hoping for when it comes to this game? Are you a fan of Black Desert? Do you have any connective tissue between that and this? Maybe you're excited for this because you played that. Did you play Dragon's Dogma 2? And let me know what you think about when it comes to Crimson Desert. Maybe you know some information too that we should know. Let us know in the comments. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 212, I think I said earlier. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me for this conversation, Chevy. And make sure to vote Game of the Month for October Community Pick. Just type in something down below. I've been Seth, and until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.